Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Marvel. Play as Naruto at the beginning. Chapter 1. Hiss. Wu Chen opened his eyes, only to feel a pain in the back of his head. He raised his hand to cover his head and sat up from the ground, and then he noticed the abnormal situation around him. Looking up, there are night streets lined with high-rise buildings on both sides. Looking down at his feet, he is sitting on the sidewalk. Where is this? Am I working overtime at the company? Wu Chen was startled and stood up abruptly. He remembered clearly that the project was about to be checked and accepted, but the final inspection had not yet been completed, so Wu Chen's team was working overtime overnight. Seems to fall asleep while working overtime, and then come to this place as soon as I wake up. Am I dreaming? Roar. A loud roar came not far away, as if a certain monster was going mad. Then he yelled very violently, "Hulk!" The huge roar produced a shock. The wound on the back of the head was affected, and the pain reappeared, reminding Wu Chen that all this is reality. An unfamiliar memory appeared in his mind. Wu Chen looked at the blood-stained stone around his fist, feeling a little bit of it. This is New York, USA. I am the owner of a Chinese restaurant in Manhattan. The name is still Wu Chen, and his appearance is still handsome, but the world is not the world it used to be. In memory, Wu Chen saw the headquarters building of Stark Industries, and saw Tony Stark saying at the press conference very sullenly, "I am Iron Man." This is Marvel world. According to the look of Tony Stark in his memory, this is the world of Marvel movies. Suddenly, Wu Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Fart. Compared with the world of Marvel comics, the world of Marvel movies is undoubtedly weaker by several levels. But no matter how weak it is not something ordinary people can resist. Now that Iron Man has appeared, will the follow-up Hulk, Thor, Hydra, and even Thanos be far away? Wu Chen felt bad luck. He didn't really want to bet on the 1/2 probability of snapping his fingers, because he felt that he would surely become ashes and fall to the ground. But what can you do as an ordinary person? He thought of the reason why he was lying on the ground at the moment. When he went out to buy things, there was a loud noise, and a stone flew over and hit the back of his head directly. I'm too unlucky. Bang! The wall not far away was violently smashed open, and another stone shot towards Wu Chen. He quickly avoided, and at the same time glared angrily at the source of the stone. But the next second, he was stunned, and then ran away. After the wall broke open, an ugly green giant more than 3 meters high appeared in Wu Chen's sight. It was the initiator of Wu Chen's pain, and Wu Chen also recognized its identity: hatred. The captain of the team formed by General Ross to capture the Hulk, Emil Bronsky, in order to pursue greater power, injected the blood of the Hulk, Dr. Bruce Banner, and became this extremely ugly, but very vicious, and extremely powerful hatred. At this moment, it is the time when Bronsky turned into hatred. Although he gained powerful power, he also lost all his sanity. He went crazy and destroyed everything around him, and wanted to fight Hulk. A strong body could have brought Bronsky into the thrill of destruction. He overturned the cars around him one by one, and then flew away suddenly, hitting pedestrians and vehicles everywhere. Ah! Help! The cries of innocent people shook the sky, and the police arrived and shot at hatred, but to no avail. Wow! A car smashed on the head, several policemen could not dodge and died. When Wu Chen witnessed this scene, he only felt that there was a staleness in his heart that could not be volatilized. In order to attract Hulk over, hatred ruthlessly destroys everything, regardless of anything. This is a demon. Mom, I want my mother. Suddenly, the cry of the little girl appeared behind him, and Wu Chen stopped running away and turned his head to look over. I saw a 5 or 6-year-old blonde loli lying on the ground. In front of her was a blonde woman lying in a pool of blood. A few meters behind her was the menacing hatred carrying a car. Wu Chen's eyes were red, and he wanted to save this loli. But the distance is too far, and hatred has discovered that blonde loli is approaching her. Seeing that the tragedy was about to happen, an ethereal voice without emotion appeared in Wu Chen's mind. Ding! The detection host has a strong obsession, and the strongest acting system of the heavens is on. Host: Wu Chen. Current character: none. Current play progress: 0. Possess character: none. Number of times to play the character: 1. The feudal voice made Wu Chen's eyes condensed slightly, and then his dark eyes burst into light. The golden finger appeared. There is no plan to study cheats, nor the intention to chat with the system. Feng Island directly roared inwardly, extract characters to play. Single quote. The most important thing is to save the blonde loli. Wu Chen couldn't save himself, he could only rely on the power of the golden finger. And based on the name of this system, he could probably guess that the system could allow him to play any character in the heavens and 10,000 realms. It may be a big brother, or it may be a weak one. However, no matter who it is, he must be better than Wu Chen, who is an ordinary person. Sure enough, the ethereal voice in his mind sounded again. Please draw a prize pool for playing characters. The current prize pool options are Hokage, DC, Dragon Ball. Is it drawn right away? Draw. Single quote. The draw is successful, and the prize pool is locked for the character, Hokage. After system testing, the character extraction this time is the first extraction, blessing buff, things come true. Ding, the character is being drawn. Following the system's words, a series of figures flashed through Wu Chen's mind. In the end, the picture in my mind stayed on the figure of a figure wearing a red flame border and a white background imperial robe, wearing a Konoha forehead. The blonde hedgehog head and the handsome and soft face give people a warm feeling. Under the robe is a tactical costume that can only be worn by Konoha Nakanobu, and behind the robe is the 5 characters, 4 generations of Hokage. The 4th generation of Hokage Wave Fangshaumen, Konoha's Golden Glitter. Wu Chen was so excited, the blonde loli was saved. Speaking of Bofeng Shuamen, the first impression is of course fast. As soon as the Flying Thunder God's technique is released, where is the world so big that it can't go? Ding! Congratulations to the host who played the role in the draw, the 4th generation of the Hokage Hagami Fangshaumen of Konoha Hidden Village in the Hokage world. Do you start acting? Hint. All the characters who play, the host can become their appearance. Wu Chen was originally worried that he would have to dress up like a wave of feng shui men and dye his black hair into blonde hair before he could start acting, but he didn't expect to be able to transform directly. So, he did not hesitate, and directly replied to the system, start acting. After a breath, Wu Chen had disappeared, and instead appeared a blonde young man in his early 20s with a gentle and handsome face, wearing a white imperial robe and holding a trigeminal kunai. At the same moment, the system panel in my mind also changed. Host. Wu Chen, currently acting character. The 4th generation of Naruto Wave Fangshaumen. Current play progress, 15%. Owned character, 4 generations of Hokage Wave Fangshaumen. Number of times to play the character, 0. Wait, is this 15% progress? Is it because I have something in common with Bo Feng Shui men? Both of them are handsome and willing to help the weak. After only thinking about it in his mind, Wu Chen left it behind for the time being. The most important thing is to save the blonde loli. Reaching into the ninja bag on his back, Wu Chen took out the 2nd trigeminal kunai. This trigeminal kunai was projected by him to a safe place far away. The speed is so fast that ordinary people can't see it clearly with the naked eye. This is an effect that can only be thrown by a real wave of water gate. Then, Wu Chen arched slightly and suddenly threw another trigeminal kunai towards the blonde loli's position. This time, under the full throw, the speed was a few points faster than the handle just now. Ding! The trigeminal kunai nailed to the blonde loli's side, which made the crying blonde loli stunned. She wiped her tears and she was about to reach out to touch the trigeminal kunai. Because the Chinese characters tied to the trigeminal kunai handle looked like tadpoles to her. Blonde loli likes this cute little animal. She seemed to have forgotten her current situation. Behind her, loathing to hold the vehicle high, he was about to smash it down on her. If this one falls, the blonde loli will definitely die. And the death meeting is extremely miserable. The child's body is not fully developed and the bone hardness is not high. This will definitely smash the blonde loli into flesh. If you hate your hands faster, the blonde loli may be able to walk less painfully. Looking at the blonde lolita's small and cute body, he hated the bloodthirsty excitement in Bronsky's eyes. His state at the moment has lost his reason, and he can perceive everything around him. The pleasure of this wanton destruction made him excited. Especially at this moment, the beautiful loli is about to be destroyed by him, this feeling makes him almost climax. In the distance, the helicopter in which General Ross was flying looked at frantic hatred from a distance. Bruce Banner was also in the helicopter. Both he and his girlfriend Betty were caught by General Rose. Because of the injection of the inhibitor, Dr. Banner failed to become the Hulk, so he could only get hold of it. But at this moment, seeing these human tragedies, Banner took the initiative to say to General Ross, "Ordinary people can't deal with hatred, let me go." "No." Girlfriend Betty rushed over and hugged Banner. "You are not Hulk now, you can't go to die." However, Dr. Banner shook his head. He could feel that the inhibitor had only temporarily controlled Hulk, and if he was in danger, Hulk would appear again. Facing Dr. Banner's firm eyes, Betty wept bitterly, but finally nodded. After kissing Betty, Dr. Banner jumped directly out of the helicopter under General Ross's gaze. Bang! He smashed the ground out of a hole, but Hulk did not come out immediately. "Bruce!" Betty yelled, but when General Rose suddenly said, "Quick! Fly over there! Look there! What's the matter with that man?" Hearing this, Betty looked up. Roar! The blonde loli finally noticed the situation behind her as she roared and was about to smash the car in her hand. She opened her mouth wide in horror, but the next second, her sight was blocked. Suddenly, a handsome blonde man appeared beside the blonde loli. Entering the eyes as a handsome face, more handsome than her father. And, it was not only handsome, but also a warm breath came, like a little sun. The man gave her a gentle smile and reached out to hold the trigeminal kunai she had just grasped. "This is a dangerous thing, kids, don't touch it." Wow! Bang! Disgusting that this blow was empty, it was so angry, Hulk. Blonde loli only felt a flower in front of her eyes, and she was held by this warm man to a safe place in the distance. "Big brother, can you fly?" Wu Chen smiled gently. "This is not flying, it's space ninjutsu." After the conversation, he put down the blonde loli and told her, "Run away, the farther the better." Then he turned his head, took out a few three-pointed kunai from the ninja bag again, and threw them towards the position of the other people who had no time to leave. Haha! 4 or 5 people appeared in front of blonde loli instantly. There are blonde women, Asians with black hair and black eyes, and blacks with black eyes. After taking away the innocent passersby around him, Wu Chen narrowed his eyes to stare at the abomination, and the suffocation in his heart turned into anger. "Bullying the weak, crazy and wanton," he said loudly. "I don't care what you are for, your behavior makes me hate. I will kill you." After all, he shot a few trigeminal kunai towards abomination, and disappeared in place at the same time. Disgust can't hear Wu Chen's words clearly. It only knows that Wu Chen is provoking himself, making it even more angry. But in the face of the trigeminal kunai from the lacing, it didn't even have the idea of avoiding it. If you can neutralize the bullets, how can such a thrown-cold weapon injure yourself? I hate thinking so. Sure enough, trigeminal kunai could not pierce the skin of hatred. However, the three-pointed kunai that was originally thrown in the air was held by the sudden appearance of the water gate at the moment when it hit the hatred. Coming with one of them, there was also the blue spiral ball of light in the hands of Bo Feng Shuaman. Spiral pill. Ah! Bang! Facing the invincible hatred of ordinary people, at this moment, he was hit by a spiral pill from Bo Feng Shuaman, hitting the house behind, knocking it down and collapsing. I have to say that in front of the real strong, hatred is a dish. Oh my god! This man actually knocked his hatred away. General Ross on the helicopter exclaimed, and the few people saved by Wu Chen were equally stunned. This is the superhero. Don't panic, there is a superhero like Iron Man to save us. Someone yelled loudly, and more people saw this scene, and they stopped and watched. There is one thing to say, it is normal that there are few foreigners. The collapsed house stirred up dust, which soon filled the surroundings, completely concealing the abomination. Wu Chen glanced at the crowd's onlookers and ignored them. He didn't want to care about being a dead person. At this moment, he was squinting his eyes and looking coldly in the direction of disgust. Others only when the crisis disappears, but only Wu Chen knows that hatred is definitely not dead. If hatred was killed by a simple singular helix pill, then it would be impossible for it to fight Hulk back and forth for so long. Sure enough, with a roar, disgust rushed out of the smoke and dust, and it rushed towards Wu Chen while beating the ground. It wanted to pinch the person in front of him to death, and even dared to attack the great Bronsky. It was unforgivable. It seemed that because of the huge damage he had just received, the bloody loathing of the body had regained his sanity at this moment. He used tactics in the process of rushing over. Cars were lifted up by abhorrence and smashed at Wu Chen, but Wu Chen easily dodged them. But in the process of the car's impact, a giant fist slammed into Wu Chen's face. Disgust took the opportunity to attack. But Wu Chen didn't panic at all. I saw that he disappeared into the same place at the moment before his disgusting fist touched his body, and appeared on the far-reaching trigeminal karma. Bang! Disgust hit the ground again, and he became even more angry. Bug! Don't hide. Wu Chen frowned, thinking that this guy should be resolved. Although you can continue to fight with it, if you fight again, this block will be completely turned into rubble. So he closed his eyes and prepared to enter the fairy mode. Yes, Bofeng Shuamin has also learned the fairy mode, and it is exactly the same as Naruto's perfect fairy mode. Seeing Wu Chen closing his eyes in disgust, he only felt that this guy was looking down on himself, and suddenly became angry and rushed towards Wu Chen. Oh my god, why is he standing still? That monster rushed over. Flash. Big brother, run away. The people around looked anxiously, but no one dared to rush forward. The hatred of the tyrannical behavior just now has made everyone tremble. However, at this time, there was a loud noise. Hulk. Bang! The ground was pierced, and Hulk finally appeared. As soon as Hulk came out, he saw Abomination rushing towards the innocent passers-by, and immediately set off to rush towards Abomination. Slap! The two collided in the air. Two powerful bodies measuring 2 to 3 meters high and more than 500 kilograms collided with each other. They deviated from the original direction and rolled aside. Seeing this, Wu Chen put away the fingers of Fei Lei Shen. Of course he wouldn't stand still and let Abomination fight. Although he can't move when he enters the fairy mode, it is also possible to activate the Thunder God. But this will interrupt the progress, and you have to start again if you want to enter the fairy mode. Now that Hulk helped him, Wu Chen would naturally not move. However, despite helping Wu Chen, the open and close battle between the two monsters caused more serious consequences than before. A strong sense of oppression hit his face, and houses around him collapsed like dominoes. The concrete cast walls are as fragile as white paper. Hulk and Abomination are roaring and fighting. They vent their inner anger and tyranny, and use everything around them to kill each other. Every impact will break the ground, and the street light poles and fire hydrants have become their own weapons, slamming their opponents frantically. Soon, there was a ruin all around them. After seeing such a devastating scene by the surrounding people eating melons, some people were even more excited, shouting, "Kill him! The big green guy, hit that ugly monster!" But more people sensed the danger and ran away hurriedly. Blonde Lolita's father found him. This was a middle-aged man in a police uniform. He picked up Lolita and his unconscious wife, and got into the police car. "Dad, that big brother saved me." The blonde Loli pointed to Wu Chen in the car, who was still in the fairy mode. After taking a look, the middle-aged man ignored him and drove away. Bang! Hulk was not angry enough and was not an opponent he hated. He was disgusted and hid all the way to the light pole. It just so happened that the direction he flew over was where Wu Chen was standing. Wu Chen opened his eyes, and there were 2 more orange eyeshadows on his handsome face. In addition, they became lateral pupils like toads. He disappeared in place, causing Hulk to hit the ground directly. In the next second, Wu Chen appeared on the top of Hateful Head. He raised his right hand and condensed the Helix Pill, which is bigger than human, on it, Shanfa Deu Helix Pill. Bang! He was too late to react, and he was directly hit on the head by the Deu Helix Pill, and then lay on the ground, completely eating up the damage of a Shanfa Deu Helix Pill. Suddenly, blood was splashed, and half of his body was crushed by the big jade spiral pill. Perceiving the increasingly faint breath of hatred, Wu Chen retracted his palm. Even if it is hatred, it can't resist Shanshu. After all, it is a means that can hurt the 6th-level powerhouse. General Rose on the helicopter opened his eyes wide, and roared, "Is that ball of light and the oversized ball of light any new energy weapons? Why can that man teleport? Quickly find out who he is." Originally, General Ross thought that the blonde young man was able to shoot hatred to be the limit, but he did not expect that he could kill hatred. Betty was also pleasantly surprised. This handsome blonde guy killed Abomination. Doesn't Banner need to fight Abomination? Bruce is safe. Betty cried with joy. The restless onlookers in the distance also exclaimed at this moment. Strong and handsome, he saves people from danger. Not to mention women, even men can hardly not feel good about them. Golden Glitter, we love you. Golden Glitter, come on. Hit the big green guy again. Combining Wu Chen's characteristics at the moment, these people who eat melon spontaneously nicknamed him Golden Glitter. Coincidentally, this nickname was also the former name of Bofeng Shuaman. Konoha's Golden Glitter, but the big green one. Wu Chen frowned, feeling the wind pressure behind him, and immediately jumped up to avoid the attack from behind. Hulk is very angry. After fighting hatred for a few minutes, he had already regarded hatred as his opponent and could not tolerate anyone intervening. This is the instinct of powerful beasts when hunting, and getting in the prey as a vengeance. Although Hulk did not reach this level, his hatred was dead. He failed to enjoy himself, and failed to release his anger, so he turned his attention to the person who killed the hatred. If you can get rid of the hatred, it will definitely make me happy, and let me release my anger to the fullest. Hulk got up from the ground and rushed towards Wu Chen with his fists. With a punch, Wu Chen drew away, but there was a trace of coldness between his eyebrows. Hulk helped him at first, so Wu Chen didn't intend to do anything with Hulk. But now this guy dared to attack him. Then, it is necessary for him to see how powerful the Golden Glitter is. Ha! A trigeminal Kuwu was shot behind Hulk like a bullet, and then a golden light flashed. Wu Chen appeared behind Hulk, the spiral pill in his hand condensed. Bang! Hulk smashed into the wall from a distance, but his body surface did not cause any damage, which was a departure from the abomination of fakes. After all, Wu Chen had a spiral pill before, but he directly blasted his hatred into blood. But banging on Hulk was like scraping Gu Sha. Only strong kinetic energy is left to play a role, allowing Hulk to take off. However, this is not over yet. The art of Flying Thunder God is activated. Wu Chen disappeared in place. When he appeared again, his position was behind Hulk. When Wu Chen attacked Hulk with the Helix Pill, he had already left the mark of the God of Flying Thunder on the back of his neck, the Sword of Forbearance. The imprint of the God of Thunder of the Waves of the Wind Gate is these 4 characters, and the mark of the God of Thunder, the creator of the art of the God of Thunder, the second generation of Hokage thousands of hands, is a somewhat strange pattern. The spiral pill was condensed in Wu Chen's palm, and he blasted out. Hulk was blasted off again. This time he suffered a little damage, his body surface was broken, green blood flowed out, and his whole body was blasted to another direction. With this force, Wu Chen flew to the wall, his feet attached to chakra stood upright to stabilize his figure, and then raised his eyes to look at Hulk. In the next second, he repeated the old trick, disappeared again, appeared behind Hulk, and then a spiral pill blasted out. Boom boom boom. Hulk is like a sandbag that no one wants. Under the blow of the golden shining spiral pill, it repeatedly knocks into the field, but it can't fall. Dozens of times like this, Hulk was already bloody. He roared in the air, but he could only be beaten passively. This is the magical effect of Flying Thunder God's mark. This is also the usage that Wu Chen has only understood now. When he was fighting Abomination, he had not yet fully adapted to the power of the wave of wind and water. Therefore, the fighting technique used at that time was to use the Sword of Forbearance, tied to the kunai to use the Thunder God technique. Obviously, leaving the mark of Thunder God on the target is a simpler, more convenient and practical technique. Finally, Hulk fell into the road all over with green blood. And Wu Chen as the last point of Shanshu Chakra, once again used Shanfadeu Spiral Pill. Ha! Wu Chen appeared above Hulk, holding a spiral pill that was bigger than a human, and slammed it straight on Hulk. No, Betty's mood is really ups and downs. She felt fortunate when she hated death, but when Hulk attacked Wu Chen, she began to worry. When Hulk was unilaterally beaten by Wu Chen, she was worried. Now that Wu Chen used the trick to kill Abomination again, she couldn't help it anymore. Stop. Don't kill Bruce. But Wu Chen was not affected in the slightest, and he pressed his hand down. Wow, bang, the brilliance dissipated, and Hulk remained motionless, as if he was dead. But Wu Chen knew that Hulk was not dead, he would never die. As the Hulk of the Marvel world, the parasite that a certain big brother has deposited in the world, Hulk will never disappear like this, and this is why Wu Chen has not stopped. Then Hulk slowly shrank, and finally became Bruce Banner. Hulk was beaten back alive by Wu Chen. Only two people can achieve this level, one is Tony Stark wearing anti-Hulk armor, and the other is Thanos. Wu Chen slowly retracted his hand, he looked at the devastation around him, his eyes showed a trace of unbearableness. At this time, General Ross's army surrounded the place. They drove away the citizens. Then General Ross appeared not far away and shouted to Wu Chen, "Thank you very much for defeating Hulk and Abomination. I think we should be. There are some common topics." But Wu Chen just glanced at him coldly, not paying attention to him at all, his attitude was very cold. Wu Chen knew that the root of all this in front of him was General Ross. It was he who lied to Dr. Banner and asked him to study super soldier potions for the military without knowing it. After an accident happened in an experiment, Dr. Banner became the Hulk. Then General Rose saw the power of the Hulk and ordered his arrest, hoping to replicate the miracle of the Hulk. Only then did this series of broken things and hatred appear. It can be said that in the Hulk series, General Ross is the root of all evil. In the face of such a person, Wu Chen tried his best to endure it without immediately killing him, let alone showing him a good face. Moreover, he also understood the reason why General Rose had a good attitude at the moment. It's nothing more than wanting Banner in his own hands and a corpse that he hates. "You want, I won't give it to you." Wu Chen made up his mind to take away the hated body and Banner, leaving nothing for General Rose. At this time, some agents dressed in black were late to arrive, led by a black bald head with a single eye patch. "General, we will take over this place, please retreat." "Where do you come from? Do you want to snatch the achievements of our military?" General Ross stared at the black bald head, and then extended an invitation to Wu Chen. "This unknown gentleman, I think the army will be very suitable for you. Yours power is simply a natural killing machine, come with me." Wu Chen did not expect that General Rose would hit him on his head. His eyes flashed coldly, and then disappeared instantly. The next moment, he appeared next to General Rose, because there was a trigeminal kunai stuck there. A palm was placed on the neck of General Ross, and at the same time he left the sword of forbearance, stunned him, and then repeated the old trick, knocking every soldier with a gun to the ground. Wu Chen didn't kill them, just stunned. But in the process, every soldier dared to shoot because they were worried about accidentally injuring their teammates. Happiness. From Nick Fury's perspective, he only saw a golden light flashing, and then General Rose and his army fell to the ground. Seeing this, he immediately became alert and pointed his gun at Wu Chen. "Don't be nervous, I just caused them to faint," Wu Chen explained, then he pulled up Dr. Banner and prepared to leave. He didn't take the trigeminal kunai on the ground, and he believed that SHIELD would help him take it away. At that time, he can go directly to the SHIELD headquarters as a guest. "Wait, sir." Nick Fury saw Wu Chen's intentions and immediately shouted, "Thank you very much for calming down the disaster. Can I ask your name? And where are you from?" Wu Chen knew that Nick Fury was also a good person, with a slightly better attitude, and answered his question, "The fourth generation of Hokage in the village of Konoha Yin Bofeng Shuaman." After the words, he took Dr. Banner to jump up the high wall, and directly formed the seal of Huo Dun. There is fire in the chakra attribute of Bofeng Shuaman, and he is also good at fire escape. Art Fire Escape Ho Fireball. A big fireball with a diameter of 3 or 4 meters protruded from the entrance of Bo Feng Shui and hit the abominable corpse straight away. Bang! The place where Abomination is located exploded and burned at the same time. Konoha Hidden Village. 4 generations of Naruto. What are these? Why, I have lived for so long, never heard of it. Nick Fury is deeply puzzled. What kind of village is he in the strange Konoha Hidden Village? There is such a powerful person. Nick Fury knew the information about Hulk when he came. In his opinion, this is a stronger candidate than Iron Man and a more suitable candidate to join his Avengers. But now, such a powerful Hulk, and hatred not weaker than him, was actually defeated by this wave of Fengshaumen in front of him, and hatred was even killed by him. It's no wonder that Nick Fury is not shocked. But what shocked Nick Fury was still behind. Not only was this wave of wind-water gate extremely fast, but it was also capable of creating flames. The huge fireball radiated vigorous heat, and the shock wave after the explosion made the agents step back. Seeing this scene, Wu Chen picked up Banner and left here a few jumps. The abominable corpse burned. Fight the fire. Fight the fire. But it was too late. By the time the fire extinguisher sprayed foam, the corpses were already cooked. This cannot be used for research at all. Looking up, Wu Chen and Banner had already disappeared, and Nick Fury felt frustrated for the first time. But soon, he recovered. Wake up General Ross and them, and deal with follow-up matters. Click, click. There were people taking pictures around, and Nick Fury was too late to stop him. In this information age where the internet is spreading all over the world, everything here is destined to be impossible to keep secret. That night, someone on the tubing uploaded the whole process of Bo Feng Shuiman's beating Abomination and Hulk, which instantly became the top spot. The words left by Wu Chen when he left were not specifically concealed, so the names of Konoha Hidden Village and Hokage instantly rose. Countless netizens guessed where Konoha Hidden Village is and what is Hokage. However, Wu Chen's claim that he claimed to be the 4 generations of Hokage pointed out the direction for netizens. It seems that only Japan would call it that way. Is Konoha Hidden Village in Japan? This is a Japanese organization. As for Hokage, it looks like it should be the leader of Konoha Hidden Village. If everyone in Konoha Yin Village was so strong, then the world should have been ruled by Konoha long ago. This statement was officially accepted, so SHIELD and the United Nations jointly put pressure on Japan overnight and asked them for the location of Konoha Hidamura. The Japanese side naturally has some difficulties, but how does he know where Konoha Village is? If it weren't for the video on YouTube, they wouldn't know the existence of Konoha and Naruto at all. Do people in the Marvel world know Naruto? I don't know, because the creation period of Marvel Comics is much earlier than that of Naruto comics. Naturally it is impossible to know the existence of Naruto. They don't know, other forces don't believe it at all. Seeing this, the Japanese side was also a bachelor, and a direct showdown. If you are willing to come and find it, come and find it. We will cooperate throughout the whole process. Then it is impossible to find a big village. If you really can't find it, then it means we are not in Japan. Then, of course it was not found. However, these are things to follow, Wu Chen didn't know. At this moment, Dr. Banner, who was carried on his shoulders, woke up quietly. The Hulk was really cowhide and was beaten like that, and now he can wake up unexpectedly. After waking up, Wu Chen put him down. He still maintains the appearance of the Wave Wind Water Gate. It seems that as long as he does not take the initiative to lift it, he can always become the Wave Wind Water Gate. You defeated Hulk. Bruce Banner had complicated eyes. Although he said interrogative sentences, his tone was very conclusive. The memories of Banner and Hulk are not in common, but when they transform into Hulk, Banner can also see some sporadic pictures. It feels like a fragment of a dream. Among them, there is a scene where Abomination is killed, and Hulk is defeated by Thunder God's combo. Wu Chen nodded. This is not something that needs to be concealed. Well, now that you have recovered, then I will leave. Is Banner a good person? Of course it counts. That's why Wu Chen has a good attitude. But Banner stopped Wu Chen and pleaded, Bo Feng Shuiman, right? Can I follow you? Wu Chen frowned. Why? You can beat Hulk, you can limit it, I need your help, I don't want to hurt other people after being angry. Bruce Banner said sincerely. This is obviously his true thoughts. Wu Chen was silent, he was thinking about gains and losses. At the same time, his consciousness sinks into the system space. He was busy saving people and fighting before, and he didn't have time to explore the gold fingers. At this moment, he just thought about his gold fingers while understanding his own gold fingers. Host: Wu Chen. Currently acting character: the 4th generation of Naruto Wave Fengshouman. Current play progress: 25%. Owned character: 4 generations of Hokage Wave Fengshouman. Number of times to play the character: 0. If he remembers correctly, his performance was 15% before. At that time, he still wondered whether this 15% was caused by the fact that he and Bo Feng Shuiman had a lot in common. Could it be because I just killed Abomination, and at the same time defeated Hulk and General Rose, the culprit who made it all, and completed the obsession of the predecessor? If there was no arrival of Wu Chen, and the front and back of the head were shot and passed out, the **** would die at the scene where hatred was raging. After all, there is no one to rescue, and there is no doubt that such a situation will die. At this time, the ethereal voice of the system sounded again. This system is the strongest acting system, which can extract any character from the heavens and all realms, and let the host transform into a role. The more the host plays, the higher the progress of the performance, the stronger the host gains. When the performance reaches the extreme, the host's strength even exceeds the strength of the character itself. Play the progress. Play the progress. That's it, I understand. There was a burst of light in Wu Chen's eyes. Ninja. What is a ninja? Receive missions, complete missions, and get rewards. This is the ninja of Naruto world. As large as Uchiha Madara, as small as Uzumaki Naruto, they all have the experience of taking on and completing tasks. This is an indispensable part of all ninjas. Just now Wu Chen killed Abomination, which was equivalent to completing the task given to him by his predecessor. Remuneration is everything about the predecessor. From then on, he is really Wu Chen of Marvel World. And Konoha's 4 generations of Eyes Hokage Wave Fangshouman. Playing him, is there anything more straightforward and simpler than accepting tasks and completing each task? At this moment, Wu Chen understood how to play the role of the Wave Wind Water Gate in the future. Not only does things fit the personality characteristics of Bo Fengshuaman, but also can improve the progress of the performance through tasks. With this in mind, Wu Chen had an idea about Dr. Banner's request. You mean, let me ask you again in the form of a task? Bruce Banner had lived so long and had seen such a strange request for the first time. But because he wanted to ask each other, Banner had to do what Wu Chen said. Then, Wu Chen nodded. Make sure that the content of the mission is to stop you after you transform, prevent you from harming other people, or prevent your transformation. This is a long-term mission, and each transformation is considered a mission completion. Yes, that's it. Banner nodded. Wu Chen also nodded. Then, it's time to talk about task compensation. Banner was taken aback and didn't seem to anticipate this. Wu Chen dissatisfied. Don't you think I am doing charity? No, what kind of compensation do you want? Banner shook his head quickly. Let's do it. You work for me, this is the reward for the task. Wu Chen thought for a while and said, every time you stop you do something for me, how about? Do something for you. Banner hesitated. He was hesitant, worried that the boyfriend would ask him to continue his evil research. After all, besides being a Hulk, Bruce Banner's value is only scientific research ability. Wu Chen saw Banner's scruples and explained, I will not ask you to do things that violate your bottom line. You can rest assured of this. Immediately, Banner breathed a sigh of relief and nodded immediately. That's all there is to it, the deal. Seeing this, Wu Chen smiled, and he continued, however, I will not follow you, you will show up when you need it. Don't worry, I have left a mark on you. As long as you are still on the earth, I can reach you instantly. Now, I'm leaving now. After speaking, Wu Chen used the instantaneous technique to leave. Just leave Banner alone on the top of the building and stop talking. Hey, you at least send me down the building. After leaving Banner, Wu Chen cancelled his role and changed back to his handsome appearance. He raised his foot and walked towards home. Although he was not injured in the battle, he was under pressure inside. Now, Wu Chen needs to take some time to ease his mood. There is nothing more soothing than sleeping in your own home. However, on the way home, Wu Chen suddenly thought, how should he play other characters besides Guofeng Shuaman? Communicating this question to the system's reply sounded in his mind. Every time the host plays a character's progress to 50%, he will be able to get a chance to play a character. Is it 50%? It doesn't seem to be difficult to achieve. After all, I have 15% initially, and I have completed the last wish of my predecessor, which has increased by 10%. Perhaps as long as you take a few more tasks later, you can smoothly increase to 50%. Wu Chen thinks this is not very difficult. Back home all the way, ignoring the digital gaze, opened the door of the restaurant. Wu Chen walked in and locked the doors and windows smoothly. The reason for being so cautious is naturally because of the environment here. Next to the street where Wu Chen's restaurant is located, is a block in Manhattan in the central city of New York. There are only 8 blocks in total, but in the underground world, everyone does not know a paradise of sin. There is an exclusive name here, Hell's Kitchen. If you are not impatient with your life, it's best to stay away from Hell Place. Older New Yorkers have basically heard this sentence, and they also know that that hell place in this sentence is the Hell's Kitchen. A lot of ruthless people walked out from here, the most famous of which is the uncrowned king of the underground of New York, Golden Union. In addition, Hell's Kitchen has always been a 3-0 zone, and North American officials have turned a blind eye to it for various reasons. This is also one of the main reasons why this place will become a paradise of sin. Next to the restaurant is Hell's Kitchen. My predecessor has long developed a habit of closing and locking the door when it is not open. Wu Chen didn't want to expose his special features, so naturally it is better to do more than to do less. Back in the bedroom and lying on the bed, Wu Chen suddenly thought of something. When drawing the prize pool for playing characters before, there were 3 options: Naruto, DC, and Dragon Ball. I have drawn the Naruto prize pool, which means that the characters I will play afterwards will all be strong in the Naruto world. After inquiring about the system and getting an affirmative answer, Wu Chen frowned. Although the high-end power of Naruto world is very strong, it is obviously not enough for the Marvel world. Just being a Thanos is not something the ordinary powerhouse of Naruto can handle. Even the 6 immortals are probably choking. Moreover, he may not be able to draw 6 immortals. But if it was DC, or even Dragon Ball world, it would be much easier. There are many big bosses in the 600th world, enough to match Marvel, and Dragon Ball is even more cowhide. Among other things, just being a universe overlord Frieza is enough to defeat Thanos. Therefore, Wu Chen asked expectantly, the system, can the prize pool for the role-playing character be changed or expanded? Single quote. The current character prize pool will automatically expand the character prize pool after the playing progress reaches 100% with the strongest combat power. The systematic answer caused Wu Chen to fall into contemplation. So I have to draw 6 immortals or a full-body Datang Muie before I can draw characters other than Hokage. There is no doubt that the ceiling of Naruto world's combat power is these 2 bigwigs. Even the 2 Zuo Ming, who were given the power from the 6 Dao Madara and the 6 Dao Immortals, were slightly inferior to these 2 in strength. And the plot of the entire Naruto world is derived from the family affairs of the Datangmu family. In this regard, Wu Chen felt like Ming Jing. But what can we do if we understand these conditions? Can this help me draw 6 immortals or Datang Muie? Wu Chen suddenly became annoyed. However, this trouble did not stay in Wu Chen's mind for too long. At present, he has only played the first character, raising the progress of playing the strongest character in Naruto world to 100%, which is too far away from him. Even if Wu Chen died of depression, it was of no use. Moreover, the most important thing at the moment is to increase the playing progress of Bofeng Shuamen to 50%, get the chance to play characters, and unlock new characters. After thinking about this, Wu Chen stopped thinking about it, and went to sleep with empty thoughts. Early the next morning, Wu Chen woke up. Looking at the familiar and unfamiliar environment around him, Wu Chen realized that everything that happened last night was real. He really crossed the Marvel world, and also played the 4th generation of Naruto Fengshouman, killed Abomination, and beat Hulk violently. In other words, the story of Invincible Hulk is over. Next is the story of Iron Man 2 and Thor. Wu Chen began to think about how to use these big events to improve the progress of his character playing. He thought about a lot of possibilities, but without exception, it is not enough to rely on Wave Feng Shui Gate. Therefore, the goal set last night is not wrong. You have to improve the playing progress of Bofeng Shuamen as soon as possible and get new characters to play. So, find someone to take the task from today. First, Wu Chen checked his belongings. This is something that can't be helped, even if it's Bofeng Shuamen, it's going to have to eat, let alone Wu Chen, who is an ordinary person. After the inventory was over, Wu Chen found that the family had a total of 50,000 or 60,000 US dollars. So much money, just enough for food, clothing, shelter and transportation, it will last a long time. That being the case, don't worry about money for the time being, then act now. There was no one in the restaurant, no waiter and no chef. These were once served by a predecessor. Without family, without friends, he is like a ghost living in New York. But this is also convenient for Wu Chen, so that he does not waste time and energy for the communication of his predecessor. After eating the breakfast that he made, Wu Chen went out to a secluded corner, playing the role of a wave of feng shui again. Wow. The handsome and gentle fourth-generation Hokage appeared, and then he launched the Flying Thunder God technique. The next second, he appeared next to Bruce Banner. The reason for this is simple, he needs to give his contact information to Bruce Banner. Fei Lei Shen's mark exists, but there is no way to communicate between the two, and there must be a contact method. Wu Chen was negligent last night, so today he had no choice but to make up for it. As soon as he appeared next to Bruce Banner, Wu Chen frowned. Because he appeared on the top of the building where he left yesterday, and Dr. Banner was lying on the ground with a few pieces of newspaper covered on his body. Is it so miserable? Wu Chen smacked his lips, then relentlessly awakened Banner, who was in awe leaping. In fact, Banner woke up when Wu Chen arrived. This was the vigilance he accumulated from running away all the year round. The reason why he continued to pretend to sleep was because he wanted to see what Wu Chen planned to do. When I was awakened, I naturally couldn't continue to pretend to be asleep. Banner rubbed his dim sleepy eyes. When Wu Chen saw Wu Chen's first words, he complained, "Hey man, you should have taken me to another place last night, here is the rooftop door. It's locked." Wu Chen was slightly embarrassed, "Then you can't break in. You have to stay here all night." "No, that might make Hulk come out." Dr. Banner got up and pushed his glasses. "Why, what can I do if I come here today?" When Wu Chen remembered what was going on, he gave Banner his phone number, and at the same time gave him some money, and took him all the way down the top floor. This is not going down the stairs, but the soles of the feet are attached to the chakra, standing on the wall vertically, carrying Banner down the stairs in a way that is maddeningly Newtonian. "Ow Micah!" The foot stepped on the ground again, and Dr. Banner exclaimed, "What was that just now? Why can you walk on the wall like that?" Wu Chen glanced at him, spit out the 3 words, chakra, and then disappeared in front of Banner. He has his own plan to implement, and he has no time to spend time with Banner. This made Banner a little disappointed, but he was still interested in chakra. Chakra, what is that? Lifting his foot out of the alley, Wu Chen walked on the streets of the Hell's Kitchen, keeping the posture of a wave of wind and water, walking in a hurry. He is trying to come across a random mission. The so-called random task is to wait for someone to ask for help, and then take the other party's task for asking for help. He can't just pull someone out and say, "I want to help you accomplish things, you pay me," or something like that. That is too low and too deliberate. So Wu Chen thought about it all night and came up with a way to take random missions. As long as the place he is in is messy enough, someone will come to the door for help. However, there is one saying that when it comes to receiving tasks, it must belong to Konoha's task hall. There are just as many tasks as you want. Without Konoha's mission hall, it is really inconvenient to receive missions. Hey, that kid in fancy dress. However, instead of waiting for the random mission, he was troubled to find him. Wu Chen was stopped by a bald head. This is a white man. He is 2 meters tall, has a big waist and a round waist, and his face is full of flesh. He looks fierce and vicious. "Is there anything wrong with you?" Wu Chen and Yan Yushin were stopped by someone. This time, he came out to ask for trouble. Isn't it just asking for trouble to find a task, accept it, and then complete it? Of course, if the process doesn't take any money, then it's all. Therefore, he was already prepared to be stopped by strangers. Wu Chen was very good at talking, but the man thought Wu Chen was bullying. He reached out and grabbed Wu Chen by the collar, and said in a vicious voice, "Are you looking for me when you are walking around here?" Wu Chen didn't know, so he looked at the bald hand holding his collar. "Can you let me go before you talk?" Ha, Bald John is about to do evil again, there is a good show. I bet for 5 seconds. 5 seconds. You look at this little white face too high, I guess he will beg for mercy before starting. I bet for 3 seconds. It's open. When the people around saw this scene, instead of calling the police or seeing uneven roads, they gloated. Obviously, these guys are all the same. Bald John grinned upon hearing Wu Chen's words. "Boy, it seems that you are indeed looking for me, and you are still giving me money, right?" Now Wu Chen understood. Robbery. No, how can it be said that it is robbery? Bald John sprayed Wu Chen's face, making Wu Chen frown. "Didn't I just say it? You are here to give me money. I think about it, you should give me $1,000, right?" As he said, his free hand was raised, and the big casserole fist shook in front of Wu Chen. I don't want to hear a denial answer, or I might get angry, and then my fist falls on you uncontrollably. Seeing this, Wu Chen didn't answer, but turned his head and looked around at the people around him. It turns out that you are all scumbags. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Bawled John furiously, boy, what are you talking about? With that, his fist was about to fall on Wu Chen. At this moment, a little boy's voice suddenly rang beside him, don't bully people, I'm calling the police. Bald John stopped and turned his head to look over. Wu Chen also retracted his hand that was preparing to condense the spiral pill, and also looked at it. It was a teenage boy with brown hair. He was holding the phone in his hand. At this moment, he was plucking up the courage to yell, let go of him. Ha 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 ha, everyone including Bald John laughed. Carrying Wu Chen, Bald John walked to the child, bent over and said, Small, don't you know that the New York police will not go to this place at all? Ah, the boy was obviously frightened, but the police uncle just said that he will be there soon. That's a lie to you. They will only come after the matter is over and wash the floor. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, everyone around was amused and laughed presumptuously. Seeing this, Peter Parker, who was only 11 years old, had an earthy face. Although he was young, he knew very well what he would face like this. Offending such a gangster, being beaten half to death and then robbed of his money, this is the best situation. If it was more serious, he couldn't imagine what would happen to him. Obviously he was only going out to buy things, and he just came to buy something that happened in the neighborhood, but he didn't expect to encounter such a thing. Since he was a child, he has a sense of justice, and of course he will not sit idly by. But he was not stupid. Instead of rushing up directly, he called the police. Unexpectedly, the police didn't care about it. What can I do? Looking at the flustered boy, Wu Chen felt that he should act. Wu Chen likes such a brave and kind-hearted child who is in danger to help himself. In this case, of course we must protect him. So Wu Chen raised his hand to pinch Bald John's wrist which was holding his collar, and began to slowly exert his force. Kaha! The crisp sound of bone fracture sounded, and the hand holding Wu Chen's collar could not loosen it, allowing Wu Chen to return to freedom. Immediately afterwards, the Bald John began to wailing, ah! My hand! My wrist is broken! Ah ah ah! Wu Chen still did not let go, and tightly squeezed Bald John's right hand, so that everyone including Peter Parker could see clearly. Suddenly, the faces of those onlookers around changed. Bald John would never act with such a handsome guy, so he really had his hand bone broken. Hiss! Who is this handsome blonde guy? How much strength is needed to crush the bones of Bald John's hand with bare hands? Quietly, the onlookers walked away. To be able to survive in the harsh Hell's Kitchen, in addition to having the necessary force, you must also have enough vision. You have to know who can and who can't. If you provoke someone you shouldn't provoke, you probably don't know how to die. Obviously, being able to smash a person's hand bones with bare hands, no matter who this handsome blonde guy is, he is not a bully. Some people who felt that the matter had nothing to do with them left. Of course, some people left because they were worried that this handsome blonde boy would settle accounts after the autumn and tidy up the people who had just laughed at him. This is not impossible. The gangsters in Hell's Kitchen have come to this conclusion. Of course, more people choose to stay and join in the fun. Their idea is very simple. No matter how strong a blonde boy, you can beat a group of people. Ignoring people's reaction, Wu Chen glanced at little Peter, and then continued to pinch Bald John's wrist forcefully. This time it was completely disconnected. The severed hand slumped weakly on the wrist, there was no wound, and the severed swelling was severe, which was enough to show the power of Bo Feng Shui men. Squeezing human bones without breaking the skin is not something that can be done with strength alone, it also requires some skill. This technique Wu Chen used was also used by Konoha during the interrogation of prisoners in the memory of the Bofeng water gate he obtained. It now appears that this technique is not only for interrogating prisoners, but also useful for deterring ordinary people. Ah! Wu Chen stepped forward and held his head, and said gently, Child, don't be afraid, can you tell me your name? Anyway, looking for someone to trigger the task, then it's better to find someone who will please you. The child in front of him is quite pleasing to the eye, even if he doesn't have something to pay him for the task, it is better than doing things for those souls. Therefore, Wu Chen wants this child to be his employer and release tasks to himself. I'm Peter Parker. Although he was a little horrified by the scene before him, little Peter still said his name. This big brother does not seem to be a completely good person. Wu Chen raised his eyebrows slightly. He took a close look at little Peter's face and made sure that this was the little spider in the future. I really didn't expect that I could meet a superhero by just finding a random mission. Despite being the superhero of the future. However, little spider is really likable, and Wu Chen didn't mean to change his decision because of Peter Parker's future status. Seeing Peter Parker's expression, Wu Chen guessed his thoughts and explained, "Little Peter, how do you think you should treat bad guys?" The bad guys, in the eyes of the teenage Peter Parker, are those who bully others. So based on his own experience, he thought of answering, "Convince them and stop them from bullying others." But what if you can't persuade? Wu Chen pointed to the bald-headed John who fell on the ground and howled, "There are always some people you can't persuade with words. What will you do then?" Little Peter fell into deep thought. After a while, he said, "I will run away and run far away, so that he won't find me." Evasion is shameful but useful. Most people face bad guys with this mentality, and there is nothing wrong with it. But Wu Chen said, "Escape can't solve the problem. You can run. What about other people? If you run away and your friend is bullied by bad guys, what should you do?" This is another tricky question. The young spider is still thinking about it seriously. "I want to come back and fight the bad guys, but I may not have the ability to do that." "Assuming you have that ability, then I must come back to fight the bad guys," Peter Parker said firmly. "Very good. Great." Wu Chen gently touched little spider's head. "When dealing with bad people, if you don't want to kill them, you must be afraid of them, so that they will never dare to do bad things again in the future." Quote. And different bad guys can endure differently. Like this bald head, he is the kind of person who bullies the soft and fears the tough. Even if he verbally educates him today, he will continue to bully other people the next day. So, I chose to confiscate his tools of crime directly, so that he will never be able to bully others in the future. Little Peter, do you understand? Wu Chen looked at Peter Parker expectantly. To be honest, the feeling of educating people is really great, and Wu Chen is a little addicted. Especially the educated people will shine in the future, which makes Wu Chen feel refreshed. Of course, if the education is successful, his sense of refreshment will be upgraded to another level. So, under Wu Chen's expectant eyes, the little spider Peter Parker cautiously said, "Big brother, although you will prevent him from bullying people in the future, his own life has become a problem. With one hand missing, there is no way to do a lot of work. He might starve to death." "It's so kind." Feng Island couldn't help sighing. Even young spiders already possess the qualities of a true superhero in their hearts, that is kindness or empathy. However, sometimes, kindness and empathy are not rewarded as they should. Just like at this moment, Bald John, howling on the ground, heard the little spider pity him, and suddenly became angry. Even the pain in the right hand was also suppressed. He struggled to get up, half kneeled on the ground, took out a pistol from his arms with his left hand intact, and pointed the muzzle at Peter Parker. "Go to hell, you fool, you dare to say that to me." Bang! Bald John shot. This is the real evil party, not the kind of street gangsters. Because the gangsters still have things to fear and scruples, and these evil parties, even without gangs, still exist lawlessly. They are not afraid of anything, do not care about anything, and only do what they want to do. The bullet glided across a trail in the air and shot at Peter Parker at a very fast speed. This speed is close to the speed of sound, and little Peter, who has not acquired the ability of Spider-Man, can't avoid it at all. When it was said that it was too late, Wu Chen turned his gaze slightly, then chakra exploded at his feet, and directly threw little Peter to the ground. This is the super responsiveness of Bo Feng Shuiman, which no one else can compare. The bullet flew over Wu Chen's body, past two people, and hit the audience behind. "Ah, bald guy, you actually shot me." The man was shot in the calf and fell to the ground immediately. Then, he took a pistol from his arms and fired at the position of Bald John. Suddenly, the scene became chaotic, and other unrelated people immediately hid behind the bunker skillfully, leaving only Bald John and the shot person in the street, plus Wu Chen and Little Spider. This is the daily situation in Hell's Kitchen. The shops on the street also closed their doors and windows very familiarly, waiting quietly for the end of the gunfight, and then they could continue doing business. Seeing this scene, Wu Chen took out a trigeminal kunai from the ninja bag and threw it to the distant building. Puff! Trigeminal Kuwusui was on the top of the building, and Wu Chen and Little Spider disappeared into the street with a golden light. Ha! People! Bald John was astonished, but the guy who was shot reluctantly fired, so he didn't continue to think, and shot at him. On the top of the building, Wu Chen squatted down beside Peter Parker, with his hand on Little Spider's head, and asked, "Do you still think he will starve to death without a hand?" Peter Parker's face was dumbfounded. Hearing Wu Chen's question, he clenched his teeth and shook his head. "So, the method I told you must be kept in mind, because it is really useful." Wu Chen consolidated his idea a bit. But the Little Spider looked down blankly, and Zhu Liangkai said, "Big brother, you are so strong, can you stop them?" "Do you want me to stop them?" Wu Chen's eyes lit up, only to think that the Little Spider was very prosperous. "Yes, they are not good like this," the young Peter said. "Of course it can, but I have to ask, are you entrusting me with a task?" Wu Chen said a little more formally. "Delegated task." The Little Spider thought for a while, nodded, "I entrust you to stop them." "Very good. So what is the reward for the task?" This made the Little Spider stunned. Then he found a lollipop from his pocket and handed it to Wu Chen. "Is this all right?" "I only have this now." "Of course, no problem." Wu Chen took the lollipop with a bright and gentle smile. "Just stay here and don't move, just watch my performance." Ha! The golden light flashed by. Wu Chen disappeared from the roof and appeared on the right-hand side of John Bald. He just left the imprint of the sword of forbearance on the right hand of Bald John. No nonsense, he kicked the gun in John's hand with a kick. Raising his hand to throw a trigeminal kunai in the direction of the person who was shot, Wu Chen appeared beside the person with the golden light, and also raised his foot. Suddenly, the firefighting on the street stopped. Raising his head and showing a smile to little Peter, Wu Chen opened the lollipop and put it in his mouth, and at the same time, his consciousness sank into the system space in his mind. Host: Wu Chen. Currently acting character: the 4th generation of Naruto Wave Fengshouman. Current play progress: 28%. Owned character: 4 generations of Hokage Wave Fengshouman. Number of times to play the character: 0. Chapter 11. The progress of the performance has increased from the previous 25% to the current 28%, an increase of 3% of the progress of the performance. Sure enough, getting paid for completing the client's tasks can increase the playing progress. Although only 3% of the progress has been added, this shows that there is no error in my thinking. Wu Chen was very happy, only that the strawberry-flavored lollipop in his mouth was sweeter. Then, he looked up at little Peter's surprised face, and decided to perform well in front of the future Spider-Man. Having tasted the sweetness, I naturally want to continue. Wu Chen also wanted to receive a task from Peter Parker, so he had to let little Peter realize his own strength. Otherwise, little Peter himself doesn't believe that Wu Chen has great power. How could he entrust Wu Chen with a task that can increase the progress of the character? But having said that, the difficulty of completing the task seems to directly affect the final play progress. After completing the obsession of the predecessor, he finally got 10% of the performance progress, but the character who completed the Little Spider only gave 3%. The difference between the two is that one has to fight a very powerful Hate and the Hulk, and the other fights an ordinary person. The difficulty of the task content varies greatly, which leads to a large gap in the degree of performance of task promotion. If this is the case, do you have to take on more difficult tasks afterwards? Wu Chen thought in his mind, but his subordinates did not stop. He took out a few handles of 3-pointed kunai from the ninja bag and shot it towards the spot where the crowd was hiding nearby. Wu Chen intends to use these guys to stand up and show power to the Little Spider. Anyway, these people are not good people, and they dare to watch their excitement. If they don't tidy up, Wu Chen feels bad. Life is alive, but I ask for a clear conscience. Can deceive others, but it is impossible to deceive yourself. So, just follow your own heart and be happy. Of course, if you can help others in this process and make yourself stronger, that would be better. Read more at haha. The technique of the Thunder God was launched one after another, and Wu Chen, who was like a wave of wind and water gate, appeared next to the onlookers, subdued him with one punch and one kick, and then threw him to the center of the street. Bang bang bang. At this moment, these scumbags finally felt the feelings of the weak when they had done too much to the weak, and they choked silently for a while. Little Peter was even more surprised to see Wu Chen so powerful. At this time, someone in the surrounding shops suddenly thought of Wu Chen's identity. Oh. This is not the superhero in the #1 video on the tubing. Ah, how come? When the others heard the man's words, they took out their phones to check. My goodness, it's really the 4th generation of Hokage Heifengmazu from Konoha village. How can such a powerful superhero come to Hell's Kitchen? Is he going to clean this side? Wu Chen suddenly lit up, cleaning the Hell's Kitchen. If this was a task, the difficulty would definitely not be low. He cast a thankful look at the person who said this, and then began to think about the feasibility of this matter. The few people lying on the ground, even when John with the bald head heard the words of the people around him, they quickly took out their mobile phones to check. Then, they saw the image of Wu Chen using the image of Bo Feng Shuiman, killing Abomination and blasting the Hulk. That kind of power, that kind of technique, this is too powerful. Then they looked at each other a few times, and they all saw regret in each other's eyes. Why not use mobile phones more? If we knew that this wave of Feng Shui Gate was so powerful, how could we still do it? Also, you are so strong in Bo Feng Shuiman, why do you come out for a private visit on WeChat? People kneel and lick without revealing their identity immediately, but they hide their name and pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger. This is 0202. Tukao returned to Tukao, and the few people who knew Wu Chen's deeds and identities lay tightly on the ground, not even daring to do the action of getting up. The same goes for Bald John. Although his wrist was severed by Wu Chen, he kept cursing Wu Chen in his heart, but he didn't dare to show it at all. I was afraid that Wu Chen would be annoyed and then killed. The fear of death is more effective than all persuasion. At this time, a sports car stopped outside the Hell's Kitchen, and a female agent wearing a black tights got out of the car. Her face is exquisite, her front is convex and the back is warped, her figure is concave and convex, and she looks very charming. The brown wavy hair swayed as he walked, giving people a breath. She is the Black Widow Natasha Romanoff, an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., but also an Avenger in the future reunion. As Natasha walked, she raised her hand and moved her headset. I know all the information, and I will be careful to contact him. But, really don't let other agents follow. Natasha couldn't help but suggest. But the one-eyed black bald head on the headset rejected this proposal. Natasha, for such a strong person, the number of people doesn't make any sense. Single quote. After a few seconds of serious thinking in his mind, Wu Chen knew what he was doing. Hell's Kitchen is a disease that is attached to New York and cannot be eliminated all year round. There are many reasons for this. Gangs, governments, people, etc. Of course, the most important reason is that there is only one gang in Hell's Kitchen. That's Jin Bin's gang. Jin Bin's full name is Wilson Grant Fisk. He is a super strong man with a height of 2 meters and a weight of 200 kilograms. Jin is the largest triad leader in New York and even the entire United States. He is thoughtful and wiser than ordinary people. He looks like a big fat man on the outside, but he is not fat inside, all muscles. According to Jin Bin's personal physician, over 90% of Jin Bin's body is composed of muscles. His strength is amazing, he can punch through a wall with his bare hands, and he is also a world-class fighter. There is no doubt that Jin is not a hero. With his hands and eyes widening, he has strength and means. This can be seen from the fact that he is about to become the mayor of New York City. With such power, he could have been washed white, but Jin did not have the slightest intention of whitewashing. He still scrupulously abides by his own duty and is the emperor of the dark world. Such him will naturally protect his territory. With him, Hell's Kitchen will never disappear. However, as long as Jin Bin is killed or conquered, then the Hell's Kitchen will naturally be easier to clear. In this way, as long as you have the strength, it is not impossible to clean the Hell's Kitchen. If the conditions and timing are right, it can be cleaned up anyway. There is no doubt that Wu Chen has this strength. After all, the fourth generation of Naruto Wave Fengshaoman, even in the world of Naruto, is also one of the strong. Wu Chen, who can play the role of the Watergate of the wave, naturally has the possibility of cleaning up the Hell's Kitchen. Read more. However, the question is, who does Wu Chen want to serve as the delegate of this task? For Wu Chen, the task of Little Spider just now was a simple task, and a lollipop was considered equivalent. However, to clean up the Hell's Kitchen, there are more things involved, and similar situations can't happen again. If after Wu Chen finishes his work, he finally cleans the Hell's Kitchen, but he doesn't make any progress in the performance, then he will definitely explode. Besides, things related to cleaning up the Hell's Kitchen are a bit premature for Little Spider. If it's a 16 or 17-year-old Little Spider, Wu Chen will definitely not say anything, and immediately guide the Little Spider to issue a commission task, and then the two will clean the Hell's Kitchen together. But now, Peter Parker is still just a teenage boy. Let him come into contact with these things, and he may even be in danger. Although Wu Chen is there, he will definitely not be in any danger, but it is still somewhat inappropriate. Wu Chen can't do this kind of thing. Therefore, it is necessary to change the task delegate, preferably the kind of big dog, and there will be no scruples when slaughtered. With a decision in his mind, Wu Chen planned to send Little Spider out of the Hell's Kitchen. He returned to the roof, picked up the Little Spider, and said, "Well, Peter Parker, where is your home? I'll take you back. This is not where you should be." After telling Wu Chen his home address, little Peter still wanted to say something, but Wu Chen didn't give him a chance to speak, and directly prepared to launch the instantaneous technique to leave. But at this moment, Wu Chen saw from a distance a woman in black lifted her foot into the Hell's Kitchen. He recognized that face, Black Widow. After a slight pause, Wu Chen's mind turned quickly. The appearance of the Black Widow means that S.H.I.E.L.D. wants to contact itself. In this case, wouldn't there be a big dog family? Being able to take responsibility for cleaning up the Hell's Kitchen, and being able to provide equivalent mission rewards, is completely in line with Wu Chen's requirements. Moreover, now that S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau appears to be S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau, it is actually Nine Snake Bureau. Wu Chen will never hesitate to ask for rewards for the mission. The decision is yours. Wu Chen left a trigeminal kunai on the spot, and then activated the instantaneous technique to leave the roof. Natasha felt that she was being watched, and immediately looked back, but she saw nothing. She raised her hand to flip the headset, and said, "I feel that the target may not be in the Hell's Kitchen. Chief, can you mobilize the surrounding surveillance?" While looking for Wu Chen's trace on Natasha's side, Wu Chen came to Queens with little Peter, and Peter Parker's current home is here. After finding the specific house number, Wu Chen immediately dropped the Little Spider and prepared to leave. His move was like avoiding the plague god, it was really helpless. The reason is very simple, even young spiders are very talkative. After confirming that Wu Chen would not hurt himself, little Peter's mouth was like a machine gun that pulled the trigger and started shooting. "Big brother, what's your name?" "Bofeng Watergate." "Big brother, are you the superhero on the tubing? I remember you defeated the Green Ugly Man and the Hulk." "Yes, that's right." At the beginning, Wu Chen was able to answer every question well. "They don't have strong skin. Why can they resist bullets?" "Big brother, what is the blue ball of light you used to defeat them? Is that magic? And why can you move instantaneously? Can you run as fast as you do now?" Quote, "Generally strong, okay. Those are not magic, they are ninjutsu. I am a ninja." "Ninjutsu, ninja. Big brother, I want to be a ninja, do you think I can? Also, I have played games before, and there are ninjas there, but they are not amazing." "Big brother, why are you so amazing? Big brother, do ninjas have to be patient? Why do you still make those gestures when you shoot a fireball? You." But when little Peter talked about it, Wu Chen no longer wanted to answer. In just 1 or 2 minutes, he was able to ask dozens of questions, and each question had a lot of words. Wu Chen thinks he doesn't hate children, let alone little spiders, but he is almost annoying to death now. "I can do better than all the ninjas you know because I have chakra." After answering the last question, Wu Chen directly activated the Flying Thunder God technique and left the place, leaving the little spider alone in excitement. "The ninja is amazing. ... When Wu Chen returned, his figure appeared on the roof accompanied by golden light, which was clearly seen by the Black Widow who happened to look at the roof from a distance. This is naturally because Wu Chen did not evade. His original intention was to let the Black Widow discover himself. Only in this way can things develop as he thought. Otherwise, if Wu Chen plays the role of Bo Feng Shuiman who masters space ninjutsu, no one can find him if Wu Chen doesn't want to. After the Black Widow spotted him, Wu Chen noticed her prying sight and used the instantaneous technique directly from the roof to come to the Black Widow. Natasha, hello, ma'am, you seem to be looking for me. Do you need my help? It was originally tens of meters apart, but it was in front of her in an instant. Even if she knew from the intelligence that this was the ability of the other party, Natasha couldn't help being a little surprised at this moment. Did you teleport just now? Transportation. Wu Chen paused. This is a momentary movement technique, and it is not wrong to say that it is teleportation. Blinking technique. So when you stopped Hulk and Hatred last night, did you use the blinking technique too? Natasha seemed to think that Bo Feng Shuiman was very easy to talk, so she pretended to chat, searching for intelligence and getting closer. That's not it. Wu Chen shook his head. He naturally saw Natasha's intention, but he didn't mean to expose it. Appropriate disclosure of some information is also a means of showing strength. It's not an instantaneous technique. What is it? Natasha lifted her face slightly. Her makeup is biased towards East Asian aesthetics, because S.H.I.E.L.D. internally speculated that Bo Feng Shuiman should be from East Asia. Although blonde and blue-eyed, but the facial features are not European and American style, most likely to be mixed. At this moment, the Black Widow's posture looks slender, feminine, and affectionate, which will have a miraculous effect when she comes into contact with East Asian male subjects. However, Wu Chen knows the details of this Black Widow, and has no fascination with her. But he didn't become hostile to each other because of this. After all, this was an agent and her body was also her weapon. In addition, he did not intend to change his strategy, so he replied in a serious and modest way, "It is space ninjutsu, the technique of Thunder God. This is the ninjutsu created by our second-generation Naruto from Konoha Hidamura. I'm just standing on the shoulders of giants." It turned out to be space ninjutsu. Natasha thoughtfully. And through the miniature microphone on Natasha's body, the think tank of S.H.I.E.L.D. also seized and extracted the key words, space, ninjutsu, Konoha Hidden Village, second generation Hokage. From these key words, you can already see a lot of things. Space ninjutsu is the superpower used by Heifeng Mizuno ninjutsu or space-related, and he is not the only one who knows it. Konoha Hidden Village. It seems that we don't have to continue to search for it in vain. We are destined to find Konoha Village. This kind of super-powered organization can be seen from the word, hidden, in its name. The organization's resident or base is hidden with superpowers, and there is absolutely no way to find it without corresponding means. Heifeng Shuiman is the fourth generation of Hokage, and Konoha Village also has the second generation of Hokage. That is to say, there are at least 4 people in the village like the powerful people of Heifeng Shuiman. The first generation, the second generation, the third generation, and the fourth generation. After listening to the analysis of the think tank, S.H.I.E.L.D. Director's one-eyed bald-headed Eggman Nick Fury immediately ordered Natasha, ask about the situation of Hokage in Konoha Hidden Village. Also, try to ask if their superpowers can be learned by others. Of course, and most importantly, ask Konoha Village what is the purpose of letting him, the fourth generation Hokage, come to New York. Contact with a powerful figure like Bo Feng Shuiman, even if S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau believes in Natasha's abilities, it dare not place everything on Natasha. Remote control is a matter of course, and this is what Natasha understands and agrees to. So at this moment, after hearing the instructions given by Nick Fury, Natasha paused for a while, and then asked, "Mr. Bofeng, can you ask you like this?" Wu Chen smiled gently, "It doesn't matter what the title is." "That's good." Natasha breathed a sigh of relief. "Mr. Hawkes, if it's convenient, can you tell me a little bit, the second generation of Hokage-sama in your village, have you created any other ninjutsu recently?" This is a bit curious. This question is a bit far-fetched, and it is obviously an insincere question. Wu Chen immediately saw the meaning of the inside, and deliberately clicked on, second generation Hokage, and also, recently. He wanted to ask whether the second generation Hokage was still alive, in order to infer the strength of Konoha Village. He smiled at the corner of his mouth, his gaze shifted slightly, and he looked at the place where the group of evil parties he had hit just now lay, only to find that there was no one there. Everyone ran away while he sent little Peter off. In this regard, Wu Chen is not in a hurry. He left the mark of the God of Thunder on the bald John's body. No matter where that guy fled, as long as Wu Chen was willing, he would be able to find him immediately. Now, let that guy relax a little bit. Give him a surprise after waiting. Withdrawing his gaze, Wu Chen looked calm, as if he hadn't noticed Natasha's intentions, and replied, "Recently, no, the second generation of adults has retired and usually only practices chakra." "Is that so?" Natasha nodded. SHIELD's think tank heard this answer and immediately exploded. "There is an 80% chance that the second generation of Hokage is still alive. If this is the case, the third generation must be alive, and the first generation cannot be sure. In other words, there are at least 3 strong people like Bofeng Shuaman in Muyayan village. Are you only concerned about this? No one cares about chakra. Director Fury, please ask Agent Romanov to ask what chakra is." After the order was given, Natasha paused, but instead of following the instructions, she introduced herself to Wu Chen very candidly. "Sorry, I just forgot to introduce myself. My name is Natasha Romanov, and I am a level 7 agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel Cinematic Universe is level 7, comics are level 10, and this book is Cinematic Universe. Ordered to come and contact you, Mr. Bofeng Shuaman. Although you have prevented hatred and Hulk from raging on the streets of New York, as the protector of this world, S.H.I.E.L.D. cannot completely rest assured of you. At least let us know your purpose. The Konoha village where you are, why did you send Hokage, one of the most powerful fighters, to New York for what? S.H.I.E.L.D. is the protector of the Earth. This self-proclaimed barely qualified, after all, they do contribute to Earth peace. As a senior agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Natasha has her own judgment. From the conversation to the present, she has clearly realized that if you want to gain the respect of a powerful person like Bofeng Shuaman, you must give the same or even deeper respect. The analysis of those in the think tank is not wrong, but the two sides communicate on an equal footing, which is based on the conditions of equal strength and equal status. Obviously, only looking at high-end combat power, S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau is not as good as Konoha Hidden Village. In this situation of unequal combat power, in order to achieve peaceful coexistence and equal exchanges, at least the positions of the two sides must first be determined. The so-called positions are their respective goals. Natasha has already said the purpose of S.H.I.E.L.D's sending her to contact. Next, let's see how the fourth generation of Hokage Hamazuman of Konoha village answers. S.H.I.E.L.D. has a different attitude toward a powerful organization and a powerful lone traveler. If Bofeng Shuaman were only him, then S.H.I.E.L.D. would definitely not be as solemn as it is now. The politeness will surely be so polite, but there will never be a situation where one person can be frank in contact with a large group of people in the rear. Obviously, the Muyayan village that Wu Chen pretended to talk about at the beginning has become one of his important reliances now. Next, it depends on whether Wu Chen intends to explain the lie or to enrich the lie. If it's just a lie, it is absolutely impossible to hide it forever. There will always be a day when it will be exposed. So a decision must be made on this. But after Wu Chen heard these words, his heart suddenly moved, and he lowered his head to think silently about the gains and losses. Soon, he had a decision. That is to enrich the lie and make the lie true. In this case, the cleaning up of the Hell's Kitchen would have to be moved back a bit. If it is just to kill the big family, it is indeed possible to put S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau together here, and S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau in order to appease the powerhouse Bofeng Shuaman, most likely will not refuse. But in this case, it is a wave. After slaughtering this wave, there will be no follow-up directly. After all, you have slaughtered others, and others are not fools, so naturally you will not be allowed to slaughter a second time. If Wu Chen can only play the role of the wave of wind and water, then he will withdraw after a wave, which is fine. Anyway, it is only 100% performance, and there will be opportunities to achieve it in the future. But Wu Chen can play not only a wave of wind and water, he also has countless Naruto powerhouses waiting for him to play, and even powerhouses in the 600th world and the Dragon Ball world. This kind of him is completely capable and qualified to play the role of Konoha alone. And, just being Konoha's powerhouse is not enough. There are so many charming villains in Naruto world, and Wu Chen would not refuse if he could play them. And in Naruto world, what is the most famous villain organization? Without even thinking about it, the name, Akatsuki, came to mind. Throughout the story of Naruto, the Akatsuki organization runs through, and many Naruto fans like the villains in Akatsuki more than the protagonist Zuo Ming. Wu Chen naturally likes Shao organization, and if he can reproduce it in Marvel, he will definitely do that. These are his ambitions, so a wave is definitely not good. The long flow of water is the last word. And how does the water flow? What Wu Chen thought of was to strengthen the trust of the people in the Marvel world in the characters he played. Once they have their trust, there will definitely be a steady stream of commissioned tasks in the follow-up. Isn't this a long stream? And let people trust. At present, it seems that Konoha village releases goodwill to this world. This is a good way. Although the Konoha village in Hokage is not completely decent, but here in Wu Chen, his Konoha village is a truly decent organization. However, after serious consideration, Wu Chen felt that it was not enough just to release kindness from Konoha village. To be precise, this is too slow. Now the Hulk plot has appeared, and it is only 5 or 6 years or 6 or 7 years from the start of the purple sweet potato essence just to release kind words. This time is enough, but Wu Chen wants more than just let the people of Marvel Earth believe in Konoha village. He also wants to become strong enough during this time, so he must speed up the progress. After thinking about how to speed up the progress, Wu Chen got the answer. That is a crisis. To speed up the progress of trust, there must be a crisis. When the people of the Marvel world were in crisis, Wu Chen played the role of the character of Konoha village and saved them. Doesn't this achieve trust? In the case of a crisis, Marvel world already has it, and it is not difficult to deal with. Moreover, even if it is difficult, you can let your villain playing Akatsuki come out to do things and create crises. It just so happens to clean up the Hell's Kitchen. This is a good opportunity to make trouble. But now he can only play the role of Bo-Feng Shuaman, and can't play other characters, so the cleaning up of Hell's Kitchen has to be delayed for a while. Let's pray for a while, and the second character has to be a villain. Wu Chen became more excited as he thought about it. This wave is completely a way of making a fortune with the left hand and the right hand, making great profits. As for whether this will harm innocent people, Wu Chen said that if you beat yourself anyway, you will definitely be able to master the intensity. There is no need to worry about this at all. Thinking about this, Wu Chen finally realized it. He completely gave up the idea of looking for a big dog that he had just contemplated not long ago, and asked him to take over the task of cleaning the Hell's Kitchen, harvesting a wave of ideas. Instead, I decided to fool S.H.I.E.L.D. from this moment. Not only S.H.I.E.L.D., but also the entire Marvel world. Looking up at Natasha, Wu Chen is ready and intends to rant. Agent Romanoff, right, I just linked to the village through ninjutsu and asked about your situation with S.H.I.E.L.D. As far as our intelligence system knows, the current situation of your S.H.I.E.L.D. does not seem to be very optimistic. However, it is barely credible. Moreover, you are also the first official organization willing to contact us in good faith in the Dunya. Then, let me tell you the purpose of my coming to New York. Wu Chen's words shocked Natasha, the think tank in S.H.I.E.L.D., and even Nick Fury. They just saw Wu Chen lower his head, his expression did not change, and they thought he was thinking. But I didn't expect it to be a ninjutsu capable of long-distance communication. If Wu Chen hadn't said anything, they would have never thought of it. As for whether Wu Chen lied, everyone in S.H.I.E.L.D. said it was impossible. The strong have dignity and tolerance. S.H.I.E.L.D's think tank gave Bo-Feng Shuaman an evaluation of the most powerful ninja in history. The strength level at least crushes all the superheroes currently appearing in 2 grades of power. Single quote. Bo-Feng Shuaman with such strength does not even bother to lie. And he doesn't need to lie. Although it is a modern society, it is powerful to a certain degree, but it will escape all legal boundaries. As long as they don't want to destroy the world and rule the world, the government agencies will not pursue those who are truly strong, superheroes, or ordinary people. Hulk is an example. Dr. Banner slowly accepted the Hulk before becoming one of the most important combat forces in the reunion. In this process, he has transformed into Hulk many times, and there are not a few when Hulk goes mad. Especially at the very beginning, Dr. Banner turned into Hulk, completely losing his mind and killing innocent people. But does this affect him to become an Avenger? It doesn't affect at all. Then there is Iron Man. When Tony Stark just created Mark II, he learned that terrorists in the Middle East used weapons he designed and manufactured to endanger civilians, and then he flew directly to the Middle East to wipe out all those terrorists. But, if according to the law, does Tony Stark have the right to kill like this? Even if terrorists deserve to die, legally, Tony Stark shouldn't use lynching to kill them, but what happened to Tony Stark in the end? He has become an Iron Man admired by thousands of people, and he is famous and famous. Therefore, with such default privileges, in the eyes of the SHIELD think tank, there is no need for Bo Feng Shuiman to lie at all. In this case, the words of that wave of Feng Shuiman are naturally very credible. It's just that, the current situation of SHIELD does not seem to be very optimistic. What does it mean? Nick Fury began to think. Obviously, the current business of SHIELD is thriving, and superheroes have appeared on the Earth one after another. It is the time for them to show off their skills. Why did the intelligence system of Konoha Village come to the conclusion that SHIELD's situation is not optimistic? Read more. Nick Fury couldn't understand it, but his instinct told him that this may be true, and this situation is very important to him and to SHIELD. As the director of SHIELD, Nick Fury thinks more than others, which is normal. But the others didn't care so much. They all stared at Wu Chen intensively, wanting to hear what he said next. After all, what such a strong person does when they come to New York is what really needs attention. Nick Fury also condensed his thoughts and turned to listen carefully. Let's do it. Tell you a story. A long, long time ago, the world stood a sacred tree supporting the sky. One day, the sacred tree bears fruit, and the person who takes care of the sacred tree ate the fruit and became the only god and the incarnation of the sacred tree. This is the goddess of Mao. Although the goddess of Mao has become a god, she is devoted to mortals and gave birth to 2 children with a certain emperor. But because of the achievement of the gods, the goddess Mao became more and more indifferent, and eventually became a cruel evil god. And at this time, the 2 children of the Uyuni goddess have also grown up, and have gained power not weaker than the Uyuni goddess. In order to protect the people and the world, they fought against the goddess of Yu, and finally sealed their mother on the moon. The eldest son is honored as the 6 Tao Immortals by later generations because of his outstanding achievements. However, the story is not over here, because the sacred tree rioted. In the process of sealing the goddess of Yu, the tree of gods became a terrifying behemoth with 10 tails in order to protect and save the goddess of Yu. That giant beast is extremely powerful, and only the 6 immortals can stop it. In order to prevent the mighty 10-tailed beast from bringing disaster to the world, the 6 Tao Shanren divided the 10-tailed power into 9 parts and created the 9-tailed beast to weaken their power and cultivate the 9-tailed beast to help mankind. However, things are counterproductive. Human desires are ruthless and endless. The tail beasts have been trapped more than once. Slowly, the tail beasts become hostile to humans and become fierce and brutal. Being forced to be helpless, the 6 immortals sealed the 9-tailed beasts around the world before dying, so as to bring world peace. After saying so much in one breath, Wu Chen paused, giving Natasha and SHIELD everybody time to digest. Time is pressing and the situation is urgent. Wu Chen has no time to fabricate a new myth and legend, so he has to adapt the historical facts of the Hokage world he is familiar with and instill them in the Marvel world. The reason for doing this and revealing so much information is naturally to complement the worldview and make the people of SHIELD believe what they are about to say. Seeing that the shocked look on Natasha's face had recovered a bit, Wu Chen continued, originally, all 9 seals were intact. But recently, the seal on New York has loosened a bit. The strength of the 6 Tao Immortals is far beyond me and other mortals. Even if thousands of years have passed, his seal will not loosen. Therefore, we suspect that someone secretly broke the seal and wants to release the tail beast to reappear. Therefore, the village sent me, the most active person, to investigate this matter. Now, you, and the SHIELD behind you, should understand why I came to New York. Wu Chen raised his eyes and stared into Natasha's eyes, as if he was looking at her, but it seemed that through her, he saw the one-eyed bald-headed Eggman of SHIELD. Nick Fury stared at Wu Chen's serious eyes, his expression also became solemn. This is a fairy tale. Single quote. When Nick Fury heard Wu Chen's story, his first reaction was like this. This is a mythical story that only their ninja knows. Single quote. After SHIELD's think tank searched the global mythology and found no matches, Nick Fury made this judgment. But the goddess of Mao. This method of naming seems to be from Japan. It seems that we still cannot relax our exploration of Japan. However, as Wu Chen, who was on the outside of both feng shui men, still spoke seriously, Nick Fury's inner opinion began to change. The 6 immortals sealed the goddess of Mao on the moon. How can that be? Tentail. A behemoth with 10 tails. Why does it sound so empty? Single quote. Lu Dao Immortal divided the 10 tails into 9-tailed beasts. From this point of view, wouldn't that 6 Dao Immortal be equivalent to the creation god, able to create life out of thin air? But how can God die of old age? Single quote. In this way, Nick Fury was thinking one by one in his heart. After Wu Chen said, the purpose of Bo Feng Shui men's coming to New York, his eyelids jumped. Don't believe it all, or don't believe it. This is the conclusion reached by Nick Fury. According to this Bofeng Watergate, the 10-tailed beasts after the 9 big-tailed beasts are unified are the beasts that can destroy the world. If this is true, and I don't care or believe it, so the gang took the opportunity to unblock the 9 big-tailed beasts, and then merged into the 10 tails that ruined the world, wouldn't he have become an accomplice in destroying the world? Whether it is an accomplice or not is not an important matter, and it is what Nick Fury worries about, putting the world into a major crisis. After thinking again and again, Nick Fury said to Natasha through his headset, "Natasha, give him the communicator." Obviously, they already know that they and others are remotely controlling them behind Natasha. If they continue to remotely control them, wouldn't they not put them in their eyes? Read more at although this Bofeng Shuiman seems to have a calm personality, he is not a violent person, but what if? Nick Fury didn't want to bet. He would rather choose a slightly more troublesome way to kill the crisis in the cradle. You are the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. The slightly gentle voice made Nick Fury a little relieved. Such a gentle person shouldn't mess up casually. Moreover, with such a gentle character, maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. has the possibility of cooperating with him. Thinking of this possibility, Nick Fury's pupils were enlarged unconsciously, and his breathing became a little bit quicker. However, this unusual situation was quickly covered up by the experienced Nick Fury. Even Agent Maria Hill, who was standing next to Nick Fury, didn't notice. But Wu Chen noticed. After all, the senses of a ninja are quite sharp. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and Wu Chen was a little happy. Just get upset. This shows that the story he told before was not in vain. Mr. Bofeng, I want to confirm, is there really a tail beast in this world? Perhaps it was Wu Chen's good temper, which made Nick Fury a little bolder, and he directly asked one of the key questions. Of course there are tail beasts. Our first generation of Konoha, Hokage, once fought with the strongest 9-tailed monster among the 9 big-tailed beasts, and then suppressed the 9-tailed monster. Wu Chen spoke in a respectful tone. 9-tailed demon fox, isn't that a mythical figure in the East? Nick Fury, who had just checked the mythology data, frowned and said, and, when did the first Momo Hokage of Konoha village fight with the tail beast? Why don't we know anything about it? Also, didn't you say that the seal of the 6 Dao Immortals is still strong even in the past many years? Why did Kyuubi come out to fight your first generation meme Hokage? Wu Chen had a countermeasure to these questions. He answered one by one, it's not one thing. Please don't confuse it. Although they are all foxes with 9 tails, the 9-tailed monster foxes are huge in size and cannot be transformed into them. Human form, don't confuse it. As for when did the first generation of adults fight the tail beast, it was a day 5 years ago. There should have been a natural disaster such as a severe earthquake. Why don't you know? Of course we concealed it. If people all over the world know this, even if most people hear it, they will regard it as a myth, but there will always be people who can't help but experiment. What if someone accidentally found the location where the tail beast was sealed, and then successfully released the tail beast? No one wants to bear this kind of consequence. Sometimes, the more you know, the more dangerous it is. As for why Kyuubi will be released, this involves a traitor in Konoha village. No details can be given. The first generation of adults defeated the traitor, then suppressed the 9-tailed demon fox, and then resealed it here in New York based on the seal of the 6 Dao Immortals. Probably that's the case. Do you have any questions? Wu Chen paused, expecting Nick Fury's answer slightly in his heart. Wu Chen has revealed all the information that can be said. The next step is to see how S.H.I.E.L.D. responds to this. However, no matter how S.H.I.E.L.D. reacted, Wu Chen didn't have the slightest worry. Space ability is so powerful, come and go as you want. This is where Wu Chen's confidence lies. Even if he accidentally reveals his true identity, people like S.H.I.E.L.D. or Hydra will still use him. There is confidence and no confidence, you can tell at a glance. Through the images transmitted by the miniature camera on the Black Widow, the think tank of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been analyzing the person, Bo Feng Shui Men, from the very beginning. This is to use high-tech means to identify whether a person is credible, or whether there is lying or not. If it is aimed at ordinary people, it is naturally very effective. But for the Bo Feng Shui Men with chakras, the effect of this method is almost nothing. Of course, that can't be said, at least this method made the people of S.H.I.E.L.D. a little relieved. Director Fury, based on our analysis and speculation, Bo Feng Shui Men should have not lied. Nick Fury's black cheeks looked at the speaking inspector, his eyes solemn. Don't define it so quickly, continue the inspection. He still stands firm in his opinion. However, his heart has begun to be biased towards believing what Wu Chen said. That kind of reassuring posture, this is impossible to perform. Read more at. After thinking about it for about a minute, Nick Fury finally picked up the communicator again. Mr. Bofeng, I want to confirm first that the original Hokage resealed the tail beast in New York. It is the strongest among the 9 big tail beasts. Tailed beast, 9-tailed demon fox. That's right. Wu Chen didn't stop and replied directly. So, Mr. Bofeng, should you know the data such as the size and ability of the 9-tailed demon fox? Nick Fury asked again. Yes, I know. Before Nick Fury could say anything, Wu Chen took the lead and said, 9-tailed demon fox, about 40 to 50 meters in height, over 100 meters in length including the tail. The whole body is hot, chakras are almost endless, and they can release extremely dangerous ninjutsu such as the tail beast Jade. I checked the size of the 9 tails for a long time, but there is no specific data, so I checked it visually based on the comics. So big. Nick Fury's face became a little ugly. By the way, Mr. Bofeng, what exactly is chakra? Chakra is the unique power of our ninja, you can understand it as a special kind of energy. Wu Chen replied, simply put, 9 tails will not be tired, because his energy is almost endless. Nick Fury's face darkened a bit. So, where is the seal of the seal? Times Square in downtown Manhattan. Wu Chen said this place without stopping. Times Square in New York is the most central location in New York. Wu Chen chose this location to increase his bargaining chips. The impact of a huge behemoth that is tens of meters or hundreds of meters there is no less than that of detonating a large-scale C4 bomb there, and it is even worse. Under such circumstances, it is absolutely impossible for S.H.I.E.L.D. to handle this matter properly. In that case, it's time for Wu Chen to play. S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau asked for help, and then agreed to collect payment. In the process, getting the progress of the role was simply beautiful. Sure enough, the follow-up development was just as Wu Chen had imagined. Nick Fury said solemnly, Mr. Bofeng, can you beat Kyuubi? Wu Chen said with a trace of determination, although I can't compare to the first-generation adults, but I should be able to cope with 9 tails. If you pay a little price, it is very possible to seal it. If this is the case, can you ask you for help? If Kyuubi really breaks the seal, can you seal the Kyuubi? Nick Fury finally asked. Wu Chen nodded naturally, I'm here for this. It's really great, Konoha Village deserves to be an organization that maintains world peace. Nick Fury said with compliments without expression. However, before he finished speaking, Wu Chen said, then, let's talk about the rewards for this series of tasks. A series of tasks. Remuneration. Nick Fury said badly. He had a hunch that S.H.I.E.L.D. funding might shrink. Although I came for this, you can understand the profession of ninja as a mercenary. We have a mission in every action. Wu Chen showed his sharp teeth. Save the city, even I will pay the energy and the price. In this case, it shouldn't be too much to ask for a moderate amount of remuneration. It's really not too much. Nick Fury grasped the point. What series of tasks did you just talk about? Tracing the black hand behind the scenes, preventing 9 tails from breaking out of the seal, and sealing it after 9 tails breaking out of the seal. The combination of these 3 tasks is this series of tasks. Wu Chen explained. Then you Aegis, will the Bureau be willing to pay and entrust me to complete this series of tasks? Of course S.H.I.E.L.D. is willing. Without the ability to prevent possible crises alone, it is a matter of course to rely on external forces. What else? Can you sit back and watch the crisis happen? S.H.I.E.L.D., which claims to be the protector of the world, cannot do such a move. After some discussions, the task was paid $10 million, and S.H.I.E.L.D. will fully assist Wu Chen to complete the task. There is no shortage of money now. Returning to his bedroom with the technique of Flying Thunder God, Wu Chen couldn't help smiling as he looked at the large box of dollars in his hand. He has carefully checked the box and the money, and there are no disgusting things such as trackers. S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau pays remuneration first, which is a sign of sincerity. Moreover, with the help of S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau, it will not be difficult to improve the progress of Bo Feng Shuiman's performance. Locking the money in the safe, Wu Chen once again activated the Thunder God technique and returned to the position where Black Widow Natasha was. It was a running sports car, and Wu Chen appeared directly in the position of the co-pilot because there was a three-pronged kunai there. No matter how men and women are different, Wu Chen did not leave Natasha's sword of forbearance with the mark of Flying Thunder God, but gave her a trigeminal kuwu with the mark of Flying Thunder God tied to her. When she noticed Wu Chen's arrival, Natasha's mouth twitched, and other people suddenly appeared in her own car, and she couldn't drive him away, which made her feel complicated. Even if she knew this situation might happen often in the future, Natasha couldn't abandon this trigeminal kunai. Because this is the order of Nick Fury, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. From this moment on, S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Natasha Romanov has been appointed as the exclusive intelligence docking agent, and the exclusive target, Bo Feng Shuiman. This appointment means that no matter what Bo Feng Shuiman wants later, he can pass the message to S.H.I.E.L.D. through the Black Widow. Humanoid microphone gets square root. Because it was an order, no matter what Natasha thought in her heart, she could only obey the arrangement. Read more at this as the drawback of the system. In fact, Natasha's role is not only a human-shaped microphone, she is also the main body of SHI. There is reason to believe that if there are some sparks between Bo Feng Shuiman and Natasha, S.H.I.E.L.D. will be very willing to see this happen. After all, nothing can tie a person better than feelings. Wu Chen didn't know S.H.I.E.L.D.'s plan in this regard. If he knew about it, he would definitely curl his lips in disdain. It's true that the Black Widow is a big beauty, but the other party's private life is really a bit chaotic, and Wu Chen, who is a bit mentally clean, said, "That's not my food." Moreover, the most important thing at the moment is to increase the degree of performance and strengthen one's own strength. If you have a love for your children or something, let's stand back. Of course, if there is a nightstand, running and friends, Wu Chen will not refuse. It's just that you can't use the appearance of the Wave Feng Shui Gate, you have to look like yourself. If he used the appearance of Bo Feng Shui men to have a relationship with a certain woman, would it be that Wu Chen himself had a relationship with that woman, or did Bo Feng Shui men have a relationship with that woman? This is not clear at all, and it may even achieve the achievement of, I green myself. Coupled with a little mental cleanliness, Wu Chen will avoid this from happening. Buzzing. The sports car engine roared, and when Natasha saw that Wu Chen was just sitting in the co-pilot position, she asked, "Mr. Bofeng, what are you going to do now?" "The order I received is to follow you all the way until the end of this mission. If you have any needs, please let me know." Wu Chen raised his eyebrows. "Is it all right?" He deliberately showed some lustful eyes. This made Natasha feel uncomfortable and was silent for a long time before she answered, "Yes." Speaking of this, all Natasha's confidence was exhausted. She knows her role. "Well, I've been short of money recently. Do you have any tasks that SHIELD can entrust me with?" Wu Chen seemed to say this unintentionally. Suddenly, Natasha was taken aback. Natasha was not surprised by the performance of Bo Feng Shuiman just now, and then he proposed to shake his car. And she also made preparations for dedication. Unexpectedly, it was such a strange request. Are the ninjas all mission maddeners even if they take the initiative to accept commissions to complete tasks? Are you uncomfortable starved people not doing tasks for a day? Natasha transmitted this weird request to S.H.I.E.L.D. through the voice transmitter on her body. Nick Fury and others looked at each other, and they were also a little strange about Wu Chen's behavior. Under Nick Fury's instructions, Natasha asked. Mr. Bofeng, didn't we just paid you $10 million, why are you still short of money? Wu Chen sighed helplessly. I already took the $10 million back to the village just now. That is the funds handed over to the village, and the money I make next is my own. Although we have great power, Konoha's ninjas are also good citizens who abide by laws and regulations. Question mark. Wu Chen's words made Natasha, Nick Fury and the others black lines. Street fight beating Hulk, street killing Abomination, street attacking police, falling down a crowd of General Ross, street fighting, one person blasting a group of evil parties in Hell's Kitchen. Such you, if you are a good citizen who abides by laws and regulations, aren't all the law-abiding people in this world all among the top 10 citizens? Tukao returns to Tukao. Business still has to be done. Wu Chen's request was granted after discussion by the Shield think tank. This is a free and powerful helper who takes the initiative to come to the door, so you don't need it for nothing. In terms of the strength shown by Bofeng Shuimin, that little task reward is really nothing. After all, the big money of 10 million has been given, and Shield doesn't care about this little money. However, SHIELD's think tank also has some concerns. The seal of New York's Times Square may be destroyed by people at any time, and then the extremely powerful nine-tailed monster fox will be released. You, the only person who can prevent this from happening, don't immediately look for clues or try to become stronger, but instead want to make money for yourself. Brother, do you have a problem? This question was euphemistically conveyed to Wu Chen by Natasha. Hurt, is this what you are worried about? Wu Chen disdainfully, do you think that you can become stronger if you are at my level? Since it's hard to become strong, why do you practice? Why don't you make money to support your family? Also, those who want to break the seal hide so deeply, if they didn't take the initiative to jump out, they wouldn't be able to find it. In this case, you can only follow the clues to find out, and you have to act in secret, not to alert them. In this case, on the surface, I was helping you with Shield, but in fact I was investigating it secretly. I thought you could think of this, so I didn't say it, but I didn't expect. Read more. Suddenly, the members of the think tank in Shield were blushing, and only a few old fritters had their faces unchanged. Those who are ashamed are complaining in their hearts. It is true that this theory is correct, but we are not clear about your specific situation. How could this be thought of? But, to feed the family. Has Bofeng Shuimin married? In the end, Natasha got another position, dedicated to the quest-G of Bofeng Shuimin. Mainly responsible for helping Bofeng Shuimin select, find tasks, confirm the completion of tasks, and issue task rewards. As for the implementation of the beauty plan, it must be done from the beginning, and it has become a case-by-case basis. Obviously, even with a small probability, Shield does not want to annoy Bofeng Shuimin. The humble Shield didn't run away. In the next week, Wu Chen smoothly brushed the play progress of Bofeng Shuimin to 50%. He did it this way. First of all, this week Wu Chen completed the tasks entrusted to him by Shield just like commuting. At 8 o'clock every morning, he appeared next to Natasha on time and left at 6 o'clock in the evening to return to his residence. Of course, what he claimed to Natasha was that he recognized the bed a little, so he went back to sleep at home in Konoha village. Anyway, there is a bug-level spatial ninjutsu such as the Flying Thunder God technique. How can Wu Chen say that the people of SHIELD can only believe it, otherwise it can be broken through? During the time he was with Natasha, Wu Chen also rushed into acting, pretending to be serious about the task, and secretly exploring the situation, but in fact he was really only doing the task seriously. This wave of direct three-layer cake operation has greatly improved Wu Chen's acting skills. During this process, Wu Chen got 12% of the progress of the acting. Completed 10 missions of Shield that were not difficult, received a reward of $100,000, and still had 10% progress in the performance. For the remaining 2%, let Wu Chen know that superheroes are well-known characters in the Marvel world and ordinary people, the tasks they entrusted, and the increased play progress are different. The increased performance progress of ordinary people is far less than the increased performance progress of the missions commissioned by famous characters in the Marvel world. This famous character does not mean the fame of people in the Marvel world, not a star, but a superhero and a supervillain. Ordinary people, Wu Chen helped him teach a bad guy who bullied him, and was rewarded with a newspaper. This process actually gave him only 0.1% progress in the performance. As a Black Widow in contrast, Wu Chen helped the Black Widow teach a bad guy and get paid for a dinner. This process actually gave 1.9% of the performance progress. It is directly 19 times the gap. That's why S.H.I.E.L.D. gave 10% of the 10 missions, because those people are not superheroes or supervillains but unknown agents or spies. Wu Chen immediately decided to complete the tasks entrusted by the superhero or supervillain as much as possible in the future. At this point, plus the 28% he had before, he has already made 40% of the performance progress. The remaining 10% of the performance progress was also gathered in this week. From Dr. Bruce Banner. Chapter 21. During this week, Wu Chen has been paying attention to the help messages sent by Dr. Banner on his mobile phone. Helping Dr. Banner to restrain and stop Hulk, Wu Chen has not forgotten this task. In 7 days a week, he stopped Hulk twice. The first time was the next day. Banner ran to Philadelphia next to New York, trying to avoid trouble. But his patience made the local fool feel that he was weak and deceptive. The final result is self-evident. Banner quarreled with others, and then couldn't help transforming into Hulk, and beat those gangsters to the ground. Fortunately, before transforming, he pressed Wu Chen's phone number. Then Wu Chen realized that Banner was calling for help, and immediately mobilized Fei Lei Shen to arrive. Seeing Hulk, he didn't say a word, and directly beat Huok to the fat and beat him back. This wave gave 6% of the performance progress. The second time was the 4th day. Dr. Banner ran back to New York again. Anyway, Bo Feng Shui Men was watching. No matter where he ran, Bo Feng Shui Men could be there. It would be better to stay in a place he knew well. Then, Dr. Banner went to see his girlfriend Betty secretly, only to find that his girlfriend Betty was already talking and laughing with other men. Suddenly, his green fire attacked his heart, and he couldn't hold back his anger and transformed. This time, Wu Chen arrived in time. However, when he arrived, before he could fight Hulk back, Hulk went back by himself. This situation made Dr. Banner and Wu Chen look at each other. Wu Chen was quite worried. He was worried that this would not give progress to the performance. After all, there was no battle, and the whole process took a very short time. But I didn't expect to still give the performance progress a full 4%. After all, it was Wu Chen's image of Bo Feng Shui Men who frightened Hulk back. Without him, Hulk would still run away. So his role is still not small. Ever since the 4th generation of Naruto Wave Feng Shui Gate, 50% of the play progress has been successfully completed. Saying goodbye to Natasha, Wu Chen got off work early, returned to his room, and resumed his appearance. An ethereal voice sounded in his mind. 4 generations of Hokage Wave Fengshoumen play progress reaches 50%, get the number of times to play characters once. 4 generations of Naruto Wave Feng Shui Gate play progress reaches 50%, get 1 chance to choose Wave Feng Shui Gate ability. Wu Chen quickly plunged his consciousness into his mind and saw his current system panel. Host: Wu Chen. Currently acting character: the 4th generation of Naruto Wave Fengshoumen. Current play progress: 50%. Owned character: 4 generations of Hokage Wave Fengshoumen. Number of times to play the character: 1. Character selection ability: 4 generations of Naruto Wave Fengshoumen 1. Suddenly, he breathed a sigh of relief, finally reached 50%. In the past week, Wu Chen has done his best to complete the tasks entrusted by S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau without any slack. Now, the effort has finally paid off. Moreover, there is an extra display frame on the system panel. System: explain the ability of selecting characters. Playing a character has extraordinary powers. When the playing progress reaches 50%, the host can choose one of the ability to play the character. When the performance of the character has reached 50%, for every 10% increase, the number of times the ability of the character is selected will be rewarded once. This, Wu Chen was surprised. In other words, the performance progress starts at 50%, and if it increases again, he himself can become as powerful as Bo Feng Shuiman. I have to say, this is really good news. Although playing a strong character, Wu Chen will have no worries, but if he becomes strong himself, this will make Wu Chen more at ease. However, After the joy, Wu Chen realized the problem. If you don't guess wrong, if you want to increase the performance after 50% of the progress, the difficulty should increase. This question was not answered by the system, and Wu Chen could only verify it later. Now, the most important thing is of course to choose the abilities of Bofeng Shuimen, and then draw new characters to play. Therefore, Wu Chen said silently in his heart, choose the Wave Feng Shui Gate ability. Single quote. 4 generations of Naruto Wave Feng Shui Gate capabilities are as follows. Chakra, Space Ninjutsu, Spiral Pill Series, Perfect Fairy Mode, Vortex Family Seal Art. Please make a choice by the host. Since it is a Hafumi Gate in the 4th generation of Naruto period, is there no Kyuubi chakra pattern? Looking at the situation with only 5 ability options, Wu Chen guessed. He remembered very clearly that during the 4th Ninja World War in Naruto World, the 9-tailed chakra pattern was able to be used in the Pofeng Water Gate reincarnated from the dirty soil. At that time, half of the 9 tails were sealed in Bofeng Shuimen's body. In the current wave of Water Gate, there is nothing in his body, and Wu Chen can feel it. However, if there is no, there will be no. Obviously, the cool 9-tailed chakra mode is what Wu Chen wants most. Can attack and defend, move fast enough to fly, very versatile. Who doesn't want it? Slightly curtailing his thoughts, Wu Chen began to choose seriously. After a moment, he frowned. Because Wu Chen discovered that he really had only one choice. That is, chakra. The reason is simple. The remaining 4 items, no matter which one they are, undoubtedly need chakras to be effective. Without chakra, space ninjutsu won't be used for you. After all, the energy of ninjutsu is chakra, and chakra is the unique energy of Naruto world. People from other people's world can't extract chakra at all. Cheating. Wu Chen was helpless and could only choose chakra. Selected successfully, start to infuse chakras. The ethereal voice of the system sounded, and Wu Chen felt a heat flow in his body. It's warm, not irritating at all, and even somewhat comfortable. Then the heat flow rotated in the lower abdomen, then slowly extended and expanded, and finally his whole body was filled with chakras. This amount. Wu Chen was surprised. It's actually as much as the amount of chakra in Bofeng Shuimen. In this regard, Wu Chen, who has played the role of Wave Feng Shui Gate, has the most say. As Hokage, Bofeng Shuimen has many chakras in his body, and at least it exceeds the amount of chakras in the ordinary ninja. It doesn't seem to be a loss. I thought it was only for me to extract chakras. Wu Chen's emotions rose from worry to joy. Then he noticed what he hadn't noticed just now. Since I can feel the chakra volume of the Heifeng Water Gate, can I directly use the ninjutsu of the Heifeng Water Gate? This conjecture appeared in Wu Chen's mind, and then it intensified. With all the memories of Bofeng Shuimen, Wu Chen should know all the ninjutsu of Bofeng Shuimen, at least the theoretical knowledge is absolutely clear, and he knows how to release ninjutsu. If you think about it this way, wouldn't Wu Chen be able to master all the other abilities of the Bofeng Shuimen categorized by the system through practice? So he immediately tried the 3-body technique, Shadow Clone technique, Helix Pill, Immortal Mode, Flying Thunder God technique and so on. In the end, it was discovered that both the 3-body technique and the Shadow Clone technique could be used successfully, but the others were not used. To sum it up, Wu Chen thinks there are 2 reasons. First, chakra lacks control ability, and second, he has no talent for cultivating immortality and Flying Thunder God. Helix Maru, Muji, is a test of chakra's control ability, and the 3-body technique and Shadow Clone technique also require chakra's control ability. To be precise, all ninjutsu requires chakra control. As for the control ability of chakra, Wu Chen is a bit talented, but not high enough. However, this does not matter. Chakra's control ability can be improved through training, and Wu Chen knows the training method. Sooner or later, he can use Helix Pill and other ninjutsu. So this ability does not need to be selected. But Shanshu and Flying Thunder God's technique can't help it. These 2 techniques are very talented. There is no way to do it without talent. Therefore, when choosing abilities later, Shanju and Space Ninjutsu should be selected first. At this point, the selection ability is over, and Wu Chen has gained a lot. Not only has chakra, but also found a way to become stronger. After sorting out the excitement, Wu Chen said silently in his heart, pick new characters. Single quote. After system testing, the buff on the host has expired, and the extraction will be normal after that. Special reminder, this system is activated by the host's strong obsession. The host can silently extract the range of the characters in the mind when extracting the characters to play, and there is a chance that the characters in the corresponding range will be drawn. Okay, Wu Chen really did not expect that there would still be such an operation when the characters were drawn normally. Although the buff that has been fulfilled by one's wishes has disappeared, isn't the normal extraction that the weakened version has become a buff. If it weren't for the system reminder, Wu Chen might have used this extraction opportunity a few times. Immediately said, "Thank you," to the system, and then Wu Chen began to extract, while silently saying in his heart, "Shao organization, Shao organization." At present, Wu Chen desperately needs a villain to cooperate with him and complete his plan. The strong is not necessarily suitable, it must be the villain. Ding, the character is being drawn. Following the system's words, a series of figures flashed through Wu Chen's mind. In the end, the picture in my mind stayed on a figure in a black robe. Black robe, short black hedgehog hair type, and a single eye mask with goose yellow and black stripes on his face. Ding. Congratulations to the host for being selected to play the character, Uchiha, who is behind the scenes of Naruto Akasaka, the Black Hand Mysterious Mask Man who brought the soil. Mysterious Mask Man. The Uchiha belt soil who calls himself Uchiha Madara. It turned out to be him. Wu Chen was a little surprised. He thought of his plan, and then thought of Uchiha's deeds of taking soil, and suddenly said with emotion, "This really wants me to stage a Nine Tails Rebellion, in New York." However, it is also just right. Uchiha brought the soil at the right time, so that there is no need to fight a fake match for Bo Feng Shuaman. One thing to say is that in Akatsuki's organization, in addition to the 6 ways of pen, the only one who can compete with Heifeng Mazuman is the Uchiha belt soil. After all, whether there is space capability or not, the difference is big. Heifeng Mazuman and Uchiha belt soil are 2 very clear examples. In the Third Ninja World War, why was Bo Feng Shuaman able to break through such a powerful reputation? Without him, it is because he has mastered the space ninjutsu created by the 2nd generation of Naruto, the art of Flying Thunder God. The speed of space movement is faster than that of any other method, so Haofeng Watergate has become the fastest in the ninja world. The enemy he wanted to attack could never run away, and even in the face of a siege, he could easily retreat. Other shinins and even shadows can't beat opponents of the same level in 1 minute. But Bo Feng Shuaman can use the convenience of Flying Thunder God to directly slaughter opponents of the same level. When 1 or 2 were very easy, and even better, Bo Feng Shuaman killed dozens of enemy Shangren in a single battle. It is this sturdy record that made the village that is hostile to Konoha give this order: any task that encounters Konoha's golden glitter, you can directly give up the task without being punished. This treatment really has nothing to say. Perhaps the first generation of Hokage and Uchiha Madara had similar treatment, but after their death, this was the first time they appeared. It can be said that Bo Feng Shuaman without the art of Thunder God only possesses the strength of the elite to endure the quasi-shadow level, and after the operation of Thunder God, his strength soars to the strong in the shadow level in one fell swoop. Practice again, creating a more powerful ninjutsu, and becoming a super shadow powerhouse is no problem. Before the Naruto world's combat power collapsed, the super shadow class powerhouse had only one Vortex Nagato that controlled 6 pennons. It can be said that if the 4th generation of Hokage did not die in the Kyuubi rebellion, he would definitely grow into a super shadow class powerhouse. This is actually proved. During the 4th Ninja World War, the Bofeng Water Gate of the unholy reincarnation body reached a reconciliation with half of the 9 tails in the body, and then used the 9-tailed chakra mode. At that time, his strength was already a super shadow level. And the important turning point of Bo Feng Shuaman's life is definitely not running away from learning the art of Flying Thunder God. Only after mastering the space ninjutsu, can the Water Gate of Heifeng achieve its later glory, and squeeze the Oshimaru, one of the disciples of the 3 generations of Naruto, the 3 ninjas. Read more even if there is a little shady, but it is more because of the strength of Bo Feng Shuaman. Bo Feng Mazuman is like this, has already explained how big the gap is in space ninjutsu. The Uchiha belt soil is even more so. Uchiha's spatial ability to take soil comes from his kaleidoscope riding wheel. His kaleidoscope writing round eyes. The left eye is the aggressive pupil technique Shinwei given to Kakashi Hajime writing round eyes, and the right eye is the kaleidoscope writing round eyes he has been using, containing pupil technique Shinwei space. The abilities of the divine power space are very rich. It can not only move in space like the flying thunder god technique, but also can draw one's body into the divine power space to achieve the effect of blurring. The principle of space movement in Shinwei space is very simple. It is to open the exit and entrance of Shinwei space in different places, and use Shinwei space as a transit point to realize spatial movement. Although space movement is possible, the space movement of Shinwei space actually has some drawbacks. The first is that the space movement steps are cumbersome, and it is not as convenient and fast as the flying thunder god technique. The second is that the range of movement must be within the perception range of the chakra with soil, and it is impossible to move in space anywhere in the world like the thunder god. This is where the space movement of the Shinwei space is weaker than that of the flying thunder god, and it is also the reason why the soil is rarely used to fight in this way. However, Shinwei space also has a place that surpasses flying thunder god, that is another application ability of Shinwei space blur. This is a complete magical skill. Because void is immune to all attacks, the body enters the divine power space that can only be entered with soil. Naturally it will not be hurt by any other attacks. With this magical skill, when the Kyuubi rebellion entered Konoha like no one's land, he could easily take the Uzumaki Kushina and Shao Naruto who were in production under the protection of layers of people abducted. This only then did the subsequent Kyuubi rebellion occur. Not only that, even if he was defeated one-on-one by Bo Feng Shuiman because of his strength, he could easily escape. Even at the Five Shadows conference, he directly regarded the Five Shadows as nothing, and spoke harsh words and helped him. No one could stop him. You know, at that time the concept of 6 levels had not yet come out, and the 5 people in the Five Shadows conference were the strongest in the world. But still being brought to play with, there is absolutely no way. This is the usage of Shinwei space, the power of blur. It can be said that if the pupil technique of writing round eyes awakening with the earth kaleidoscope is not a magical space but a pupil technique similar to moon reading and Amaterasu, then he will definitely not achieve his later achievements. Only in the Kyuubi rebellion, he would be killed by Bo Feng Shuiman. This is beyond doubt. So, the space capability is really very, very powerful. With and without, there are totally 2 levels. That's why Wu Chen sighed at this moment. Bo Feng Shuiman doesn't have to fight fake matches. It is because Wu Chen knows this very well. The other people who changed to Akatsuki's organization, even Uzumaki Nagato, might not be able to defeat Nagato. The Uzumaki Nagato, who holds the eyes of reincarnation, is undoubtedly powerful. His abilities are very comprehensive, both offensive and defensive, and he also masters the skill of one blow. In terms of hard power, Bo Feng Shuiman may not be able to beat Nagato, but Nagato definitely does not want to defeat him. Because Nagato can't hit Bo Feng Shuiman at all. Only those with space ability can fight against those with space ability. This is the same as, only magic can fight magic. At this time, Wu Chen suddenly thought of a question: with 2 characters, can I play 2 characters at the same time? According to Wu Chen's plan, Mizuno Nami and Uchiha will definitely fight each other. Even if the left hand hits the right hand, it has to be seen by the audience. This is equivalent to a gloved doll. The acting system gave Wu Chen the gloved doll, and then he should stretch out his hand and use the doll to act. The stage has also been selected. The one-handed glove doll's one-man show has been completed. Next, you need 2 hands to use the 2 glove dolls together to create a diagonal show. Otherwise, the audience of Shield and others might doubt Wu Chen's image of a wave of feng shui gate that Wu Chen has finally established. So at this time, 2 hands are needed. So does Wu Chen have 2 hands? This hand is not a real hand, but whether Wu Chen can play 2 people at the same time. If you can't play at the same time, should you use illusion? Wu Chen couldn't help thinking. Uchiha's illusion skills with the soil are not low. He has used illusions to control the 4 generations of Water Shadow Yakura, Mountain Wind, Oil Girl Roots, and Xiaonan. So it shouldn't be difficult to impose group illusions on the ordinary people of S.H.I.E.L.D. However, there are bound to be many people in the big scene that Wu Chen wants. Do you want to play the role of the soil to perform illusions on the entire city? Read more, let alone whether it can be done with soil. In this information age, illusion is effective for humans, but it is not effective for machines. Even if Wu Chen played the role of bringing the soil, he couldn't deceive the machine. When the time comes, people in other cities will find something unusual in New York, and they will definitely send someone to check it out. Then the illusion will be useless. Therefore, both hands must be present at the same time. Not only that, but the 9 tails also have to come true, it can't be an illusion. What a headache. Wu Chen raised his hand and patted his head, looking sad. Then, he suddenly thought of the situation where he had just used the shadow clone technique, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Shadow clone is to create a physical clone technique. Is it possible to cast the shadow clone on the body and then play it? When he thought of it, Wu Chen immediately closed his seal and performed the shadow clone technique. Bang! A puff of white smoke passed, and an identical Wu Chen appeared in Wu Chen's room. The hairstyle is the same, the voice is the same, and the face and body are the same. This is the feeling of the shadow avatar technique. It's a bit weird. Just now Wu Chen also experimented with the shadow clone technique, but at that time, he was anxious to extract new characters, so he didn't feel it carefully. After successfully separating the entity clone, he immediately released the shadow clone technique. Now, when I feel it carefully, Wu Chen has a sense of seeing that there is an extra twin brother. Because of chakra's control ability, Wu Chen can only separate one shadow clone now, and when his chakra control ability becomes stronger in the future, he can separate many clones. Even mastering the technique of multiple shadow clones like Naruto does not matter. Bo Feng Shuimin actually does this ninjutsu. After all, the multiple shadow clone technique is only an advanced version of the shadow clone technique. It is not difficult to master, but it has some side effects. Bo Feng Shui chakra is not as much as his own son, and coupled with other attack methods, he does not use it often. Wu Chen exhaled deeply, and then it's time to see if this shadow clone can act as a character. Wu Chen glanced at the clone and nodded. Knowing the mission he was created, he muttered in his heart, "System, play the role of Wave Feng Shui Gate." Single quote. Wow! For the first time, Wu Chen saw with his own eyes the whole process of playing Cheng Bo Feng Shui Men. Along with a soft light, Wu Chen's body surface changed, and it seemed that there were faint water waves floating. This process only lasted for less than a second, and then the Bo Feng Shuimin, wearing a red flame robes on a white background, appeared in front of Wu Chen. Really? This is awesome. Wu Chen came to Bo Feng Shui Gate excitedly, raised his hand and squeezed Bo Feng Shui Gate's arm, and found that he felt exactly the same as when he played Bo Feng Shui Gate. At this time, the Bo Feng Shui Gate in front of him suddenly opened. Don't pinch, it's not like you haven't played it. Wu Chen was a little surprised before realizing that this was actually himself, so he raised his hand and patted Bo Feng Shui Men's shoulder. Brother, you will play Bo Feng Shui Men temporarily in the future. Oh, Bo Feng Shuimin nodded, and then curled his lips. Don't call me brother, I am you. This name sounds weird. Well, it's a bit weird indeed. I'll just call you Bo Feng Shui Men. Anyway, you are playing him now. As Wu Chen can understand the feeling the clone Wu Chen said. That's fine. Heifeng Mizumin nodded. By the way, don't you try Uchiha belt soil. I want to see when this belt soil is. It's still worth looking at. Mysterious Masked Man. Obviously it is the Nine Tails Rebellion and the soil that controls Akatsuki's organization and the 4th generation of Mizukage Yakura. Wu Chen disdainfully complained about the wave of Fengshaumen, and then quickly converged. This is me. To cow yourself, I have a problem. Don't pay attention to these details, transform yourself and take a look. Bo Feng Shuimin urged. Obviously, he understood Wu Chen's embarrassment at the moment. It feels strange enough to let yourself help out. Converge emotions, Wu Chen said silently. System, play the Mysterious Masked Man. Single quote. Wow. After a breath, Wu Chen disappeared. Standing in the field was a mysterious masked man with black hair and a black robe. He was 1.75 meters tall and wore a one-eyed mask decorated with goose yellow background and black stripes. Wu Chen looked at everything with his right eye a little uncomfortable, but he could feel that his left eye also had eyeballs. Raising his hand to take off the mask, Wu Chen looked into the mirror and saw the familiar face of Dai Tu. His left eye was a 3-hook jade writing wheel eye, which was obviously transplanted from other Uchiha. Obviously you can see with both eyes, why do you have to show one eye? Wu Chen couldn't help but complain. At this time, Heifeng Mizuno also came over, and he looked at Uchiha's soil like Wu Chen with some feeling. Although there are scars on his face, I think it's handsome. Yeah, I think it's handsome too. Wu Chen looked at himself, but handsome, or something with earthy thoughts, we can't be infected by him. Too extreme, and unrealistic. If you don't want to be tainted by his thoughts, then how are you going to play the role of Dai Tu? Bo Feng Shuaman asked. Read more. After Wu Chen pondered for a few seconds, he decided to say, forget it, let's use the experience and goal of bringing the earth. It's better to act like this. Hey, should I say, really scented? Bo Feng Shuaman couldn't help but vomit. You just said that you don't want to be infested by thoughts with soil. It's really scented in an instant. Ahem, you or me, is it suitable for me to spit out like this? Wu Chen stared at Feng Shui Men, and then said, gather the 9 big-tailed beasts and implement the Moon Eye plan to create a world where Lin exists. As long as these rules of action are followed, it is not difficult to play with the soil. At this point, Wu Chen was taken aback. Perhaps Hokage's character role is not only a task, but also a way to reproduce the goal of playing the character. Quote. What did that Bo Feng Shui Men say? Bo Feng Shui Men looked at Wu Chen. What is his goal? Wu Chen shook his head. Bo Feng Shuaman cannot follow this guideline for the time being. Because his goal is to protect Konoha, but now Konoha doesn't even have a hair, so he still collects rewards for completing tasks by taking over tasks, and using this method to get rewards. Play the progress. In other words, Uchiha brought the soil just to test the main body of your conjecture. Heifeng Mizuman said. Wu Chen nodded, that's right. After that, I will act according to the rules of action with soil. If the progress in the process improves, it means that this conjecture is correct. Okay, I will continue to complete the task with Natasha, the main body. Please act as soon as possible. Bo Feng Shuaman nodded, and then activated the Thunder God technique and left Wu Chen's room. Although he left work early, Wu Chen actually took a task, but he told Natasha that there was something and gave up the task. Now Bo Feng Shuaman goes back, just continue to complete the task to get the progress of the play. Ah, wouldn't it be possible for the clone to gain progress in the role, and catch fish on its own? Wu Chen's eyes lit up, but then he thought of the effect of the shadow clone technique. Everything experienced by the shadow clone will be fed back to the body after the clone is lifted. Injuries, memories, experience, and tiredness will all be fed back. Thinking of this, Wu Chen knew that there was no point in being lazy. Because there will be benefits that should be there, and the disadvantages that should be some will not run away. Forget it, let the clone and body act together for the time being. After getting rid of the lazy mind, Wu Chen sank into his mind and checked the system panel. He wanted to see how well he fits with the soil. Host, Wu Chen. Current character, Uchiha, a mysterious masked man with soil. Current play progress, 10%. Characters, 4 generations of Naruto Fengshouman, 50%. Mysterious masked male Uchiha Ododo, 10%. Number of times to play the character, 0. Character selection ability, 4 generations of Hokage Wave Fengshouman, 0. Mall is to be opened, please click to open. Sure enough, there is no high progress in the initial role of Bo Feng Shuaman. The 10% of Uchiha's playing progress with soil was expected by Wu Chen. After all, he did not particularly agree with the concept of soil. However, what is the situation with this extra, mall? Out of curiosity, Wu Chen raised his hand and clicked on the mall bar and an introduction text popped up. After testing, the number of characters currently played by the host is 2 feet, so new features are unlocked mall. There are items for sale in the mall, and each item is only sold once a week, and the number of sales is automatically refreshed every week, or it can be refreshed manually. The mall is currently being opened, please wait. So this is encouraging me to draw more characters. Wu Chen thoughtfully. After waiting for a few minutes, the mall opened successfully. After Wu Chen clicked on it, a panel that only he could see appeared in front of him. The word, mall, is written at the top of the panel, and the products are on the bottom. There are 4 items in total. They are a red card, a wooden treasure chest, a blue card, and a hammer pattern. There is a refresh button below each item. Before he could see what these 4 commodities were, Wu Chen was attracted by the numbers in the lower right corner of the mall page. What is displayed there is the amount of money currently held, 10.15 million yuan. 1,150,000, why is this number so familiar? Wu Chen thought carefully and suddenly realized that this is the amount of money he currently holds. Shield government paid 10 million in advance for the task, plus Wu Chen's 100,000 for the task, and all the deposits of the original body. These add up to 10.15 million US dollars. Raising his hand and tentatively touched the refresh button under the product, the prompt text appeared. This product has not been purchased yet. Do you want to refresh it manually? Reminder: automatic refresh at midnight every Sunday. Manual refresh requires money, one time 100,000 yuan. Wu Chen immediately clicked no, and then determined the nature of this small system in his mind. This is a Krypton gold system. Is your system made by Goose Factory, Tang, Shuan, Get into the eyes of money. Swearing on his lips, but still honest under his hands, Wu Chen clicked on the 4 products one by one and got the corresponding information. Red wish card. Input the wish, the mall will evaluate the price, and pay the money to realize the wish. Random treasure box of 10,000 realms. It costs 100,000 yuan to open it, and you will get a random item. Blue summoning card. It costs 1 million yuan to redeem, and can only be used in the state of playing a character, and the effect is to summon a person who is currently playing a close relationship with the character. Weapon forging repair. Input the shape and effect of the weapon. The system forges the weapon. You can also put the weapon into it, and consume money to repair the weapon damage. This is the introduction of the 4 items in the mall. I have to say that each one is very useful. But at the same time, each is very expensive. Wu Chen had a hunch that the money he finally got, it seemed that he would not be able to keep it. After thinking about it, he clicked on the wish card and typed in, "Let me return to my world, everything will return to what it used to be. I would rather be a peaceful dog than a chaotic world person." Life in the Marvel world is indeed rich and colorful, and he can also play the role in his favorite anime. Wu Chen is very satisfied. However, if he could return to the peaceful world of his previous life and his motherland, Wu Chen would never hesitate. Wish is beyond the capacity of the system, please re-output the wish. Alas, Wu Chen sighed. Even if he had expected it, he was still a little bit disappointed when this happened. However, his advantage is that he adjusts his emotions quickly. Since there is no way to go back, try to survive in this world. I want to become strong, become enough to protect myself. Also, money is something outside of the body, enough to spend. Money can be earned again, but the improvement of strength cannot be delayed. Although he felt a little sad for his money, Wu Chen, who had understood him, clicked the wish card again and typed in the words, "A summon tail beast, 9-tailed monster fox." Before, he thought about whether to play Uchiha Dado and simulate Kyuubi through illusion. Now it seems that with this wish stuck, most of the problems can be easily solved. The first use of the wish card will trigger a discount, and the current discount is 10%. Summon the tail beast, the 9-tailed 9 llama, come to the Marvel world, it will cost 10 million yuan after a discount. This. Wu Chen's expression is complicated. How much I earn, I have to go out. Moreover, there is still a discount. If there is no discount, wouldn't it cost 100 million US dollars? But fortunately, it can be realized. Wu Chen immediately clicked the exchange, and his holding amount immediately became 150,000 yuan. He was still in Uchiha's soiled state, with a light card in his hand. On the front of the card is the arrogant image of 9 tails and 9 llama, and on the back is the card introduction. How to use. Just smash the card. Effect. Permanently summon the 9-tailed 9 llama to come to the Marvel world, times 1/1. In this way, all the actors in the final stage of my plan have been gathered. Hafong Water Gate, Uchiha Belt Soil, 9-tail 9 llamas. The audience is the citizens of New York, S.H.I.E.L.D., the government of the United States and the governments of the world. Next, we can officially start the prologue. As the sun sets, the afterglow of the sun shines through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the office on the top floor of the Fisker building, illuminating the figure like Roshan sitting on a special luxurious office chair. Under the faint golden light of the skin reflecting the sunlight, the majestic face of this character appeared. Not presumptuous, and this face alone can scare many children into tears. He is bald and has no hair, is wearing a white suit, is more than 2 meters tall and weighs more than 200 kilograms. But it seems that he is not the kind of big fat man who is full of fat and puffy. Under the white special suit, there seems to be a huge amount of astonishing muscles hidden, like a long dragon entrenched all over the body, implying this powerful and unmatched power. He is the Golden Union, Wilson Grant Fisk, the emperor of the New York Gang and the entire North American gang. Fisk Tower is the home of the Golden Union, located on the border of the Hell's Kitchen and bordering Brooklyn. Even Kinham doesn't like that his residence is completely located in the chaotic Hell's Kitchen. At this moment, Jin Bin was sitting there, looking down at the video playing on the computer in front of him. The content of the video is a scene of a blonde young man beating a villain. The young man has long blonde hair and a white imperial robe dancing. He is holding a weird weapon named kunai in his hand. Although the villains who were beaten up were far from being the opponents of the blonde youth, they were very arrogant. While being beaten, they yelled, "Smelly boy, we are bosses of Jinwei. Don't be too arrogant." However, the blonde young man ignored him, and even his eyes did not change. He didn't speak, but directly turned into golden light, and instantly knocked down the villains, beat them to the ground with a bruised nose and swollen face. There is no doubt that this is exactly what Wu Chen played as a wave of wind and water. This video was taken 2 days ago. At that time, Wu Chen was still trying to get the progress of Bo Feng Shuiman's performance. For this reason, he took over the task of S.H.I.E.L.D. and was working hard. At that time, he met these villains after he separated from Natasha. Wu Chen didn't make any provocations or other actions. He just walked past the people and wanted to buy a cone. Unexpectedly, the other party saw that Bo Feng Shui's door was not pleasing to the eye, so he directly stopped him and provoked. As a result, Wu Chen didn't talk nonsense and beat them backhand violently. Even if they reported the name of Jin Bin, he didn't plan to stop. After all, Wu Chen was planning to clean up the entire Hell's Kitchen at the beginning, and Jin He and his forces were also within the scope of the cleanup. It's like, would you be afraid that one of your chickens will explode the name of another rooster? However, others who are not clear about this situation do not think so. There were several other people in the office on the top floor of the Fisker building, but without exception, no one dared to bother Jin Bin at this moment. The long silence did not bring quietness, but rather like a deeper darkness eroding the sunlight and enveloping everyone in the office. I wonder if I dormant in the dark for too long, causing people to forget the meaning of the name Jin Bin. After Kuliang, the huge figure of Jinwei uttered these words in a low voice. No, your name has always been circulating in the dark, and everyone has surrendered to your shadow. The man in black tights quickly responded. Then why is there such a guy who ignores and provokes my reputation? Jin Bin's voice became fierce. Although the videos of Bo Feng Shuiman violently beating the Hulk and Hulk have already been uploaded to YouTube, under the intervention of S.H.I.E.L.D., such videos have been partially blocked. At that time, after Wu Chen knew about this situation, he also held S.H.I.E.L.D. accountable, but after the explanation by S.H.I.E.L.D., he did not continue to struggle. Without him, S.H.I.E.L.D. gave too much money. A trivial matter that didn't affect Wu Chen at all. When S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau apologized, it directly gave a check for 500,000 yuan. It was really rich. However, this check can only be used after it has been exchanged for money, so it has not been approved by the system mall. The reason S.H.I.E.L.D. did this was not because they didn't want to see Bo Feng Shuiman famous, but because they felt that this was too public, and it would be more effective to secretly use Bo Feng Shuiman as a killer. Moreover, they also asked the special effects company to come forward, saying that the circulated images are movie special effects, and let everyone look forward to the special effects blockbuster, Ninja vs. Giant, that might be released next year. Therefore, many people who did not know believed this explanation. After all, the official testimony came forward. The same is true for Jin Bingyi and others. Although he is about to become the mayor of the market, Jin has not yet been able to access the real secrets. While speaking, Jin stood up, his huge body cast down like a huge shadow. The huge size far beyond ordinary people and the distinct muscle lines under the white suit made him look dark and destructive. The person who had just spoken to Jin got up immediately, and said at the same time, although I don't know how that guy can flash around, but I think he is just an insignificant little guy. No, Lester, that guy still has some ability. Jin he shook his head, and he spoke to the bullseye in the black tights in his deep voice without any haste, but that's all. Even the most insignificant guy, as long as he dares to show his minions to us, he should be destroyed. It must be clear to them what they can do and what they cannot do. This world needs order, and gold is not order. This was very arrogant, and it was obvious that even if he guessed that Bofeng Shuiman had some special abilities, Jin didn't take him seriously. This mentality is very normal. After all, Jin is already the ultimate combat power that ordinary people can achieve, not to mention the kind of people with some special abilities, there are several under him. For example, these people standing in the office at this moment, the Bullseye, Dr. Octopus, the Green Devil, and the Scorpion King. Bullseye Lester is a professional killer and assassin. He is born with a strong throwing ability and can make any object in his hand throw at the target with incredible precision. In addition to the precise projection ability, the Bullseye is also a professional martial artist and a marksman with conventional weapons or cold weapons, and he has superior physical fitness and agility, endurance, speed, and responsiveness. It can be said that the Bullseye is quite comprehensive. As for the Green Devil and Dr. Octopus, they are all well-known old friends, so I don't need to introduce them too much. The Scorpion King Mike Gargan is a mercenary. He wears a scorpion-like exoskeleton armor with extraordinary strength. It's just that this armor will affect people's temperament, making people become violent and bloodthirsty like a scorpion. However, such a group of people with terrible personalities had to look at Jin and communicate with the Bullseye at this moment. Are they law-abiding people? No, it's just that they succumb to Jin Bin's lewdness. It can be seen that the Golden Union is powerful. As for why Bullseye Lester can communicate with Jin Bin normally, it is because Bullseye is the first person to merge with Jin Bin, and it is considered a confidant and naturally has some privileges. After speaking, Jin picked up a special cane, raised his feet and stepped to stand on the edge of the huge French window behind him, then lowered his head and silently looked down at New York that was about to enter the night. He was enjoying this feeling, as if the whole of New York was under his control. Of course, the premise is that there are no nosy police officers, such as Daredevil, Punisher. Spider-Man has not yet appeared, and the main force in the dark world against Jin Bin is these heroes who are not as well known as the Avengers, Alliance. After all, one side is to save the world, and the other is to fight the gang. Daredevil is indeed a bit low here. Now, maybe we need to add another golden glitter. Bullseye, find that guy, then recruit him. If you join, everything before is written off. What if he refuses? The Bullseye asked. Jin he turned around, his eyes flashed through the haze, he stroked his cane, and then said slowly but rampantly in his low voice, does this still need me to teach you? Lester. Only death can wash away the offense of the ignorant against the king. Yes, the Bullseye immediately replied, and when he was about to act, laughter resounded through the office. Ha 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 ha. The Bullseye and the others were suddenly shocked. They saw that each other did not laugh, and Jin did not laugh, and the voices of everyone in the office were not like this. Because that laughter is very young and also very rampant at the same time. So, who on earth would dare to be so rude and offensive in front of the Emperor in the dark world of Jin Bin? Following the sound of laughter, everyone looked towards the corner of the room and found that a black-haired man wearing a black robe and a one-eyed mask with a black stripe and a yellow background appeared there, who was sitting bored against the wall, holding his stomach and laughing wildly. Although covered by a mask, everyone present knew that he was laughing wildly from the look and actions. Where is the clown? You are looking for death. The Bullseye was the most loyal, and immediately took out the darts to throw, but Jin did not speak. Lester, wait a minute. Stopping the Bullseye, Jin took a step forward. Who is your excellency? What are you doing here? Why do you laugh for no reason? If you don't give an explanation, I will let you know the punishment for your offense. Jin Bin's position was opposite to the masked man. Others in the office did not notice the masked man who appeared silently. Only Jin Bin saw clearly how the masked man appeared. There was a twisted whirlpool. After the whirlpool, the masked man sat in the corner of the wall and watched them speak quietly. Seeing is believing. Such a cool way of playing like this has never been seen before. I have to say that even Jin did not dare to directly show hostility. Although he didn't think that the masked man would be better than him and his subordinates, but setting up enemies for no reason is not the demeanor of the king. However, the masked man ignored them and was still laughing, as if he had heard a joke that he couldn't help. Bullseye Lester couldn't help it anymore. Even if he wasn't to show his loyalty, he was a man of madness by nature, and he couldn't see other people being so mad in front of him. Except for Jin Bin. With the full strength of the bullseye, the dart shot out and went straight to the face of the masked man. At the same time, the green devil in armor, the Dr. Octopus dancing with 4 mechanical arms behind his back, the lower body has been replaced by the mechanical 8 legs, the right hand as a large pliers, and a metal scorpion tail stab extends out of the back of the Scorpion King. They all rushed towards the masked man. Birds of a feather flock together. The 3 of them can get along well with Jin and the bullseye, so naturally they are all arrogant and domineering people. In addition, in order to show Jin's loyalty, he attacked like a bullseye at this moment. This time, Jin did not stop. As the emperor of the underworld in New York and even the United States, Jin is also temperamental. He speaks so nicely, this masked man who appeared inexplicably is so presumptuous and rude. Then, let the bullseye teach this guy a lesson. As for the masked man, will he be killed? Jin also said that this is not in his consideration. Moreover, people are always responsible for what they do. If you do something that makes you angry, you have to bear the corresponding consequences. Whether this masked man can survive, it depends on his own strength. People without strength are not even worthy of standing in front of me, Jin. The old god was there. Jin he just watched his 4 generals pounce at the masked man, but the masked man didn't mean to evade in the slightest. Is he blind? No, it's not that you don't see the attack, but that the attacks of these 4 people are ignored. Don't we even have the qualifications to hurt you? Thinking of this, the 4 of them attacked again, as if they had exhausted all their strength. Scorpion King, Green Devil, and Dr. Octopus are like this, while the bullseye is gnashing their teeth and digging out a second dart, quickly shooting it out. At this time, the masked man finally spoke. He put away his laughter, raised one hand and stroked the mask. It's ignorant. Whoosh, bang 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 bang. The building vibrated, the fire alarm bells were triggered, and the office on the top floor was full of smoke and dust. Jin Chi frowned and pressed a button next to his desk. Hoo. The windows were ventilated, the smoke and dust were blown away immediately, and the situation in the field was revealed to everyone. The 4 generals are worthy of supervillains, and under their joint efforts, they cracked the walls of Jinhei's special office, exposing the steel plate inside. But Jin didn't mean to be happy at all, because the current situation is so weird. All the attacks of the 4 supervillains went through the body of the masked man and hit the wall behind. Is this projection technology? Jin Yi's eyes flooded. If he could master such a technology, wouldn't his safety be greatly improved in the future? However, before he could reply, Jin did not see the masked man standing up. He went straight through the bodies of the 4 people, then turned around, and began to form seals generously. The 4 supervillains were also a little puzzled. They also heard Jin Bin's words and knew that this was projection technology, and they couldn't fight it. So even if it feels dangerous, it doesn't mean to avoid it at all. Seeing this, the masked man's mouth covered by the mask smiled slightly. Idiots, try to live. Art fire escape ho fireball. Bang! The fireball was so fast that they had no time to evade, so they could only raise their hands to cover their faces. In an instant, the glass in the top floor office shattered, and a huge fireball engulfed the 4 villains and flew out of the window directly. Slap! The fireball with a diameter of 4 or 5 meters exploded like a splendid firework. The 4 supervillains were blown into confusion and fell straight down. However, in midair, they all regained their sobriety. Although the fireball is very powerful, it has not reached the point of killing people, and the masked man has left his hand. These 4 scum can die, but not now. They are still useful. As for pushing them downstairs, of course, to test their abilities. The weak are dregs again, not worthy to live. Bang bang bang. The robotic arm behind Dr. Octopus plunged into the wall, slowing down the speed, and successfully surviving before falling. The Green Devil directly called his flying skateboard and floated in the air. King Scorpion used the metal tail spurs and metal 8 legs to stop on the wall like Dr. Octopus. Only the bullseye fell straight down. Under the life and death crisis, the bullseye took out a dart with a chain, and then shot directly at Dr. Octopus. Wow! With the skillful use of darts, Dr. Octopus's robotic arm was entangled, allowing the bullseye to survive. All survived, but the faces of the 4 villains were very ugly. The opponent defeated all 4 of them with just one move, and nearly died. Although there are unexpected reasons, their failure to prevent a sneak attack is also their problem. Suddenly, the 4 of them began to worry. After this, will Kim continue to reuse them? There is no doubt that Jin is not cruel. The weak will be crushed to death by him, those who are willing to surrender will be subdued by him, and those who are unwilling to surrender will end up with the weak. After being defeated by the mysterious masked man with a fireball, it is clear that the 4 of them are no longer strong. What to do then? Can't be abandoned by Jin. This is not how loyal they are to Jin, but what a terrible situation they will face after knowing that they are abandoned by Jin. They had the honor to meet, but they shuddered just when they saw it. That kind of encounter is better than death. They are absolutely unwilling to experience it. So, the 4 super villains glanced at them, and they all saw determination in the eyes of each other. Kill the masked man and regain his status. As a result, the 4 of them climbed up vigorously one after another. The green gob who was able to fly arrived first. He saw what was going on inside, he was stunned and almost fell off the aircraft. King Scorpion and Dr. Octopus followed closely, and their reactions were the same as those of the Green Devils. They were both frightened and unsteady. The bullseye came up last, he put away the chains, took out 6 darts, ready to let the masked man taste his power. Jingle bell, the dart slipped from the bullseye, his eyes widened, and his pupils were filled with disbelief. He saw that his incomparably powerful boss, New York as the Emperor of the Dark World in the United States, and Lord Kim Nam, who was about to be elected mayor, was stepped on the ground by the masked man at this moment. Still step on the face. Not only is Jin unparalleled in power, but his own combat power is also amazing. Each of these 4 villains fought with Jin, and then they were defeated one by Jin. Otherwise, with their temperament, how could they be so cute? But now, the strongest Jin Bin was defeated. The cane fell to one side, and there was no sign of attack on the white suit. Obviously, Kim didn't have been subdued by one blow. In the end, what happened? In fact, Kim didn't want to know what happened. After seeing his 4 subordinates being hit by fireballs, Jin did not know that his guess just now was wrong. This is not projection technology, but some kind of ability to avoid attacks. He immediately raised his cane, took advantage of the opportunity of the masked man with his back to him, and knocked it down fiercely. Sneak attack is not shameful, it is shameful to die in the hands of the enemy and lose to the enemy. However, without even a slight ripple, Jin Bin's cane passed through the masked man's body and slammed straight to the ground. Boom! Cracks were knocked out on the ground, and the cracks were bigger than those knocked out by the 4 villains. It can be seen from this that Jin Bin's power is above the 4 villains. However, this is not very useful. When the masked man slowly turned his head, and the right eye from the one-eyed mask glowed with red light, Jin Bin's defeat was already doomed. Among the red eyes, the strange triangle dart was slowly turning. Jin didn't consciously cast his gaze, and then the whole soul seemed to be sucked in. When he regained consciousness, he was already trampled under the foot of the masked man. What frightened him even more was that he couldn't even resist the slightest intention in his heart. This is my master, I want to be loyal to him. These words kept floating in Jin Bin's heart, and then his restless heart gradually calmed down. Although he doesn't know the name of the masked man, what he looks like, or his purpose, Jin doesn't feel that this is his master and the object of his lifelong struggle and allegiance. At this moment, Wu Chen, who was playing the role of Soil, was shocked. He has thought about how powerful illusion is in the real world, but he didn't expect it to be so powerful. Strong as gold, a generation of heroes, not to mention the level of willpower of Captain America, but it is definitely not low, perhaps stronger than most of the Avengers superheroes. But this kind of golden union, under the illusion, there is no resistance. Looking up at the Jin Bin who attacked him, Wu Chen thought, since he has achieved this level, can he control Jin Bin like taking Soil to control the 4th generation of Mizukage Yakura? Just do it if you think about it, and then you succeed. Wu Chen ordered him to get down, and Jin He got down. He raised his foot and stepped on Jin Bin's head, and Jin didn't mean to resist at all. This effect can be achieved even if it is not the art of other gods, but just the illusion of the kaleidoscope riding round eyes blessing. Sure enough, the blood of Datongmu is cowhide. Originally, Wu Chen was planning to come in and make a fortune. After a blast, hammered him down, and then asked Jin to do things for himself. For example, revealing some of Akatsuki's reputation is a necessary process and part of the future plan. For another example, let Jin not help himself to collect money. After all, after the mall opened, money became important to Wu Chen all of a sudden. These are what Wu Chen needs, and Jin can't do it. But now it seems that there is no need to fight for it at all, an illusion can be done. If this is the case, can I take over Hydra? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.